My pod is Boston, my pod is pure. I've got a Mukka, his name is Jord. It's Mukkapod, it's Mukkapod, it's Mukkapod, and we're gonna talk about some characters that ain't even real, and hope someone gives a shit. Ah, kid. There you go.
Greetings and salutations to you all, and welcome back to Mukkapod, the weekly podcast that brings you all the happenings in the world of pop culture, served up with a top quality side of British banter. From movies, TV, gaming, anime, if you can think of it, we've got it. And as I always say, if we ain't got it, y'all don't need it. I am your host. Well, I keep saying I am your host. We are your host for the next...
No, I think you way more naturally slide into the role of host.
Okay.
So, you can be the host, mate. I'm cool with it.
Thanks,
with
man.
Your
Thank
host,
you.
Jamie
I
Smith,
appreciate that.
co-host.
I am your co-host, Jamie, also known as Jay, and with me, as always, is the host of Mukkapod,
Yeah.
the Sidonian himself. It's Jord. Yo!
How's it going, mate?
I'm good. I'm really good, mate. I've been looking forward to this. I've had a hell of a week this week. I feel like I've slept like a total of 3 hours for like the whole week.
Yeah, but whose fault is that, mate?
Mine. Well, it's actually the good people.
fault.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually the good people at Bandai Namco for creating a surprisingly stellar Pokemon Snap game. I don't think I gushed enough about it last week, man. Like,
So, man, you could end of the episode. You know the drill. Go for it.
Oh yes, absolutely. So yeah, welcome to Mukkapod. This is the format of the show. Basically, I've got a few items in the world of kind of the geek sphere. What's been going on this week? Me and Jord are going to run them down, give our opinions of it, have a bit of a laugh. We're doing the main topic a little bit differently this week. I'm going to have to explain this to the...
Yeah, because we're not doing it this week. We're doing it 2 months ago, essentially.
When we first started this podcast, we did because I'm a bit of an anime virgin, so part of the mission statement of this podcast is to get me to watch more anime. We did Attack on Titan first, which is a fucking good place to start if anybody's looking for a good place to start with anime. Like, it's 2 of 1. Where do I go? Attack on Titan. Drop what you're doing. No, don't drop what you're doing. After this podcast, go and watch Attack on Titan.
That's more like it, mate.
We did series 1 and 2 as a podcast, and then we wanted to do like a part 2, which was series 3 and 4. We pre-recorded that, but Jord was out of action for a couple of weeks, and we've kind of been struggling as to where to put this episode up without sort of double tapping 2 uploads. Yeah. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to talk about a little bit of the news, and then we're going to drop that conversation into this week's episode, and then we'll be back in current time to do the sort of outro and how's it going and things like that. Yep. Alrighty. Shall we crack on, my friend?
What is the first item on the agenda?
I'll tell you what it is, man. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. We have got a first look at this upcoming Netflix animated adaptation of Masters of the Universe, titled Masters of the Universe Revelation, which I find is a pretty generic title, but hey ho.
Because fuck, man.
Yeah, absolutely. The only other thing that would be more generic than that would be like Origins or something like that. Yeah,
definitely.
Rises.
Reloaded.
I mean, mate, I know that Masters of the Universe and He-Man and all that, it's quite precious to like 80s kids and stuff, but this isn't necessarily something I usually want to talk about. But what piques my interest in it is it puts it on my radar in a big bad way that it comes from the mind of Kevin Smith. Now he's directing the series. Now Kevin Smith is not the best filmmaker in the world. Like, he's done a few things. He's done like Clerks, and he's done, Dogma, which is quite good, Mallrats, but in recent years he hasn't really made anything that's like stood out to me. Like Zack and Miri Make a Porno is probably the last thing I watched of Kevin Smith's, and that was a bit like hit and miss.
I watched that. Yeah,
very
mediocre film, and I watched that as a proper like adolescent, and it was still mediocre to me. So.
Yeah, it was never.
I was 15, man. That should have been the best film I'd ever seen.
No, you had Pineapple Express for that when you were 15 years old, mate. Don't stress about that. Yeah, it's the shit shot for me that's just stayed with me, burnt into my brain. It lives rent free in my brain from that film, and I just. Nah, I just wish it didn't.
Anyway, you were saying about He-Man.
Yeah, but my point is that Kevin Smith is like a die-hard. He's one of us. He's one of the boys. He's a geek, and he gushes about stuff that he's passionate about. And we've never really seen him get his claws into something like this since like when he did his run on Daredevil. Like he did a run in the comics called Daredevil, and that was quite good to see Kevin Smith sort of get his hands on this kind of property. And I'm really excited for this. I'm looking forward to it, and the shots that we got, they look really, really good, to be fair. Like it's got that modern animated aesthetic, but it's kind of a natural evolution on sort of like that 80s style. Like it's still that kind of, big blocky 90s kind of character style, and the cast looks pretty beefy as well, man. Mark Hamill's in there, Michelle Gellar's in there, Lena Headey, Justin Long, Alicia Silverstone. So it's looking like a good one, to be honest with you, matey.
No, I mean that's a good cast.
Very good.
Doesn't always equal a good show. It's like what I was saying to you before we started recording. When it comes to Kevin Smith, I think he's a top bloke, and I really like, I really like him when he hosts panels and stuff like that at Comic-Con, especially because you can tell he's like, this is his shit. He's really into the whole geek world, and
he's one of the boys.
He is, mate. He's one of the boys, and let's get him on the show.
I was just about to say we should have him on here.
But I never really look at something that he's making and think, I've got to fucking see this. Kevin Smith, best creative genius in the world.
I agree.
I don't really have that thought process with him. I just think he's kind of cool. But if someone tells me that this is a must watch, I'll give it a shot. But apart from that, I'll forget about it as soon as we move on to the next item of news.
Well, July 23rd. It's scheduled for release. I mean, we've both got Netflix subscriptions. I'm gonna watch it, and I would urge you to watch it as well. I mean, I'll watch it, see if it's good first, and if it's good, I'll be like, Jord, let's go with this, man. But like it's kind of made by geeks for geeks, and his podcast co-host Mark Bernardin is writing, and he's like a top draw, writes for the New York Times and shit like that. So yeah, time will tell with that one. But no, I'm very excited, and Smith's been gushing about it on his podcast for quite a while. He seems really enthusiastic about it. He's seen a trailer for it and he was gushing over it. So yeah, let's go, let's do it. So we all know that Warner Brothers is a bit of a dogshit corporation, especially if you believe kind of what's out there. Quite a few sources now, most notably Ray Fisher, right?
Yeah.
But we can now add our Lord and Savior Zachariah Slow-Mo Snyder to that list of people. So apparently they were really fucking standoffish with him when he was making the Snyder Cut, and he's been promoting Army of the Dead recently, which is his new zombie film.
Yeah.
And he said here, it was cool to do the Snyder Cut. And that was really fun and everything, but Warner Brothers tortured me the whole time I was making it for whatever reason. They can't help it. I don't know why I'm such a fucking pain in their ass, because I'm not trying to be. Now, I think that...
Strong language.
Yeah, I think that movie corporations are like politicians, and it's like to apologise is to admit fault, and they cannot be seen to be admitting fault, which is kind of why they haven't publicly apologised to Ray Fisher just yet. But with this, I think that, it's something that the fans demanded, because what we put out, Warner Brothers, was lambasted as being a total shitfest, and fans have absolutely demanded that we stick this cut out, and now it's out there, and it's gotten the critical reception that we wanted. So fuck this guy. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why they're being a bit standoffish with him. Like they've kind of been.
I don't think it's that. I think it's more that they probably didn't want to make this fucking thing in the first place. But shareholders or whatever looking at the HBO Max numbers and being like, "Well, this is kind of shit. Have we got anything that can bring in the DC fans? We own DC, don't we?" So that's where all this has probably come from, in my opinion. So the people
they had Watchmen. But I don't think that was HBO Max. I think that was just HBO, wasn't it?
And it was a while ago as well.
Yeah.
It came out quite a while ago now. It's got to be over a year or something like that.
I think I was watching that, or I watched a few episodes of that. I couldn't get into it for the life of me. Honest, as a side note,
Well, as a side note, I really like it, and I think it's I think it's fantastic. I think it's a really good show.
Maybe I'll go back to it then.
You're definitely missing out by not getting to the end of that story. It's not the longest series in the world, so. But yeah, no, me and Kate, we really enjoyed it, and we're really annoyed that there's no word on a follow up or anything.
Oh, you should get one. It was quite.
I don't know. Watch
praise.
the show and judge for yourself to see if you think they've even set up for one to be possible.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the thing. So.
Okay. To be fair though, I was watching it on Sky week to week as it came out. I had other shit going on. It's on Now TV now, so I could just sit down and binge watch. So I'll probably go back to it.
And I really would.
Yeah. I've completely derailed myself by bringing that up. What was I saying about Zack Snyder? No, you were saying though to bring in the subscribers. What have we got? And it was just this. Do you know what I mean?
I think the people who work over at Warner Brothers are probably just sick of the DC films anyway.
Do you think so?
Yeah, you would be, wouldn't you, at this point?
Yeah, he went on to say, I don't want to get into any trouble, but I'm not going to sit here and let them act like they are and not say anything. They're the ones that have been aggressive, not me. I haven't done everything. Every day they turn around and do some weird passive-aggressive thing. Poor Zack Snyder, man. I kind of want to give him a cuddle.
Yeah, my heart bleeds for this multi-millionaire.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's not a fair way of treating it. It's not what you want in the workplace. On to happier things, bro.
Yeah. So I want to just lead this because you've listed this quite interestingly on our news document. Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan now filming /Sonic raps, and I'm wondering if there's a relation there.
Well. It was. I kind of put them
if
there
Sonic was needed on Obi-Wan or something like that. Just playing an Ewok or something. You never know.
The blue Ewok. I would love that.
That is together.
Because I thought it was thematic. As one door closes, another door opens. Obi-Wan begins and Sonic ends, kind of thing.
Right, yeah. So let's go with Sonic first.
You want to go with Sonic first? Okay.
Mate,
so
I'm super hyped.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm just hyped. I just want to see this, and I know it's not going to be the best thing ever, but it's going to scratch that itch that I've had since the first Sonic film.
Did you see the picture that the director put on Instagram when he was announcing that they'd wrapped? So he's sat there and he's got the little fucking docket thing that they. What's that thing called? The thing, the action
breaker.
cut. Yeah, that we'll go with that. And he's sat in front of a field of practical mushrooms, like from the Mushroom Hill Zone.
Right now, so he is, yeah.
And that, coupled with what we saw a few weeks ago with the life-size busts, I love the look that they're going for with this, man. So that's you look in disbelief right now.
It's just because I'm. At the bottom of this page, with that picture, it's Jim Carrey surprised his Sonic the Hedgehog 2 crew member with $40,000 gift.
Okay. God, Jim Carrey's a nice guy, isn't he?
It's a far cry from receiving used condoms and bullets on the set of Suicide Squad, isn't it?
Oh, I've got images now of Jared Leto as Shadow the Hedgehog.
Wheel.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a method actor as well. He's a method actor, so he would actually run that fast.
I wonder if someone's already put this together in Photoshop.
But Jared Leto as Shadow. You reach in there, man. Give it a Googs, though. We'll see what comes up.
Yeah, unfortunately not. But I have found a picture of him. I have. You know what? I'm just going to use my camera to show this.
Yeah, go on.
I've found a picture of him with some suspiciously Sonic-like hair.
No, it just looks like he's been sticking his finger in the plug socket or something.
He's been in a wind tunnel, hasn't
he? You know Rule 34, though, mate. It doesn't exist, and now you've got to make it.
Well, no. Rule 34 is that it already exists somewhere. I don't have to make it.
You've got to. I'm telling you now. I'm making a new rule.
I really can't be making stuff like that because I've got my second kid on the way. Like, I can't be dealing with the FBI knocking on my door, being like, "Did you make this cursed ass shit?" I can't deal with it.
What black magic fuckery have you unleashed upon this mortal realm?
Yeah, it's just I don't want to be responsible for that.
Did you find out what Jim Carrey had brought for his mate?
No.
Or did I derail you? Ah, fuck it.
I really couldn't be asked to click into the full article.
do you know what though? I like that Jim Carrey's sort of back on track now because do you remember like a few years ago when he was going a bit mental and having an existential crisis?
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
There's that footage of him talking to that girl on the red carpet, that reporter, and that's some harrowing footage, man. That's like really like, oh my god, Jimmy,
we don't
you
need
alright?
to get into that.
No, but
seems to have passed now.
Yeah, and it's good. That's what I'm saying, and I'm looking forward to seeing him as full blown Dr. Eggman this time, shaved head, big mustache, the whole shebang. Give him a few kebabs as well, and we'll see how we get on. But also,
make sure his trailer kitchen is fully stocked at all times. Don't tell him that he needs to be fat for the role. Just encourage it. Just knock on his door first thing in the morning. You're right, Jim. We got your Mackey's breakfast, mate.
Just milkshake instead of water. Brush his teeth with milkshakes and stuff. I love it. I love everything about it. Obese Jim Carrey. Now that's got to exist. Give that a Google before we move on.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'd do it, but my Mac's older than God's dog.
It's just him with a beard. That's not obese.
Oh,
just looks
God's
bigger.
sake. Right. We're moving on.
Honestly, okay, this man's glorious. There's pictures of him on the beach with what I'm assuming is his wife or girlfriend. And tell you what, mate, you know, we don't look bad.
Jim Carrey.
He's got his chest out and he's looking good. I mean, the photographers seem to want to focus more on his partner.
Fascists. Give us what we want.
Give us
more Carey all the time. Oh yeah, okay, all right. Moving on. Sorry, we're doing a podcast, aren't we?
we are doing a podcast, but apparently, I've just found an article from over a year ago doing hard-hitting research for this show while it's going on. I have uncovered that Jim Carrey wants to wear a fat suit for Sonic the Hedgehog sequel.
Oh God, please! You don't want a fat suit,
that came out like right about a month after the first film released or something. So,
I would love to see proper. I mean, they're going the extra mile with the Mushroom Hill Zone as a practical fucking set and life-size busts of the playable characters. So why not go the extra mile and put Jim Carrey in a fat suit in that little egg thing with the chain and. Give us the chain and the ball and everything.
If they don't do it, it's going to be
release the fat cut.
Give us the fat cut. No,
it cannot be understated. It cannot be understated how much I fucking love this guy. Like, I'm talking about Jord and not Jim Carrey, but Jim Carrey as well. It cannot be understated. Never change who you are, man. Never compromise. But in my weird thematic pairing, which apparently I thought I was being clever, but apparently it fell a bit flat. But we watched.
Sorry, hang on. Before we get to that, I just want to reply to what you've just said. You've put Obi-Wan and Sonic together, but there are two PS5 articles back to back that you've left separate.
No, they're together as well.
Well, not on my document. Which I don't put any work in for. I just open and Jay's made for me. So.
What do you want from me, man? What do you want from me?
I want you to do
you're
the
stressing me
Obi-Wan
out, John. Stressing me out. Right. So we watched Ewan McGregor on Jimmy Kimmel. He's now filming Obi-Wan. He's on set. Kimmel gives him some tough questions that Kimmel probably knew he couldn't answer, but there are a few nuggets in there, and the first thing that springs to mind is that fucking glorious Jedi mullet. He's got the Jedi mullet, man. It's like
I didn't even notice that.
No, it's the hair. He's got sort of longish hair. It's the Jedi mullet from episode 2, but Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful beard, beautiful everything. But no, there was a few things that he mentioned in there. Like, obviously, Jimmy asks him about Darth Vader. Is his dressing room bigger than yours? And then he goes, well, I haven't been in his dressing room yet, but he might not be in the show. Which I thought was
they're
funny.
Not going to be able to, if they're making a show where Darth Vader is alive and active, they're not like at the same time periods. They're not going to be able to resist putting him in, at least in cameo form or something, are they?
No, absolutely. I'm still interested to see how that's going to work, because I always got the vibe from Episode 4 that this was the first time that Obi-Wan and Darth Vader were seeing each other since the end of the prequels kind of thing, the end of Episode 3. I always got that vibe that it was sort of like this Titanic coming together after years and years. So I'm interested to see in what capacity Anakin's going to be used and whatnot. But yeah, there was a few other things that got mentioned, like Ewan's talking about the technology. I mean, he's very well documented about not enjoying the endless screens of blue on the prequels, and now they've got that big
most
telly
actors
technology
out there that do a lot of this work.
Yeah. I swear to God, if I have another ping pong ball on my face, I'm going to kill someone. So I can imagine it's difficult to be a modern actor.
For everyone except Andy Serkis, because he just loves it, mate.
Oh,
he gets up in the morning, he's already wearing the ping pong balls. He shows up on set, and it's just like, Andy, this was just a consultation. You didn't have to wear the full suit. It's like, no, I love it, mate.
Caesar is happy. More balls. But now they're using that big telly technology that they used on Mandalorian, aren't they? It's going to look great.
I'm gonna trademark that name, BTT.
BTT, big teletech. I love it. And there was a few more things in there. You know, he said that he filmed a special scene on May the 4th. I don't really need to go over this too much longer. It's going to be great, man. I'm so happy that it's filming. It's something I've wanted for
really
years.
Looking forward to this series.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to it as much as, you know, the next series of Mandalorian, because that's proven to be really fucking good.
Yeah.
But I'm still really looking forward to it. Hopefully, I don't know much about who's working on it, but hopefully it's the same sort of crew that do work on the Mandalorian. Or
I don't think it's the same creative team, but I do think it's the same kind of crew and the behind the scenes people to make that work.
Because they've smashed it. Obviously, it takes hundreds of
they
people to
killed
make
it.
a show as good as the Mandalorian, what it is. So I'm just hoping that there's some crossover, because there were evidently some fucking talented people working over at that studio, working on this technology.
Absolutely.
So absolutely, mate. And not to mention, fucking Ewan McGregor's in it. So
Well, yeah, absolutely.
what's not to love?
Oh God, if you'd have said to me, like, even 3 or 4 years ago, you're like, Ewan McGregor is actually going to come back and reprise the role of Obi-Wan and do a series on it, it's like, nah, that'll never happen, mate.
I mean, hopefully this will take over from the Mandalorian, because I know last week we mentioned briefly about, I think it was last week, time's a blur, life's a mess. We mentioned briefly that we have some controversial opinions when it comes to which Star Wars films are best. But we were talking about films then. If you want to ask me which Star Wars property is my favourite, do I think is best? It's Mandalorian, hands down. Not even a doubt in my mind.
Nailed it. Now I'm interested to see whether that's a fluke or whether that's going to be the consistent quality. So,
and that's where I was getting at. If this can get on that level, if this can match the sort of the hype and the enjoyment that I had with Mandalorian, I'm going to be a very happy boy.
Game over
very,
then, isn't
very,
it?
very happy
really,
boy.
it's yep. Awesome. All right, so we're going to talk about the PS5. I have got the two stories, but there's a method to my madness, and it shall reveal itself. So they've basically said that we ain't made enough PS5s, and Jim Ryan, who is the big head honcho of Sony, has kind of lamented releasing this console during a pandemic. And I quote, and this is fucking hilarious, I quote, "I wouldn't plan on doing another big console launch in the midst of a global pandemic, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody else." No Good shit, point. Jim!
Yeah.
I am no one important in the console industry, and I could have told you that for free during a YouTube ad break. Do you know what I mean? Don't do it. Hold it back.
Bad idea. Bad move.
But yeah, the chief financial advisor has said that demand isn't calming down, and even if we secure a lot more devices, produce many more units next year, our supply wouldn't be able to catch up with the demand. So basically, the console shortages that we're seeing now are going to extend into 2022. So if you haven't got a PS5, you're going to be waiting a while for it. But here's some controllers for the console that you can't find anywhere.
He's pulled it back, ladies and gentlemen. He's made it link up. Right, okay. Next story then.
No. That's it. So yeah, they kind of weirdly timed announcing 2 new colour controllers.
So I saw this announcement. Don't know what the fuck that red is. Like, who gives a shit? But oh my god, that black controller looks amazing. So you've ordered one. You've pre-ordered one, right?
I haven't pre-ordered one just yet, though. Funds are tight, but payday. Pretty much, yeah.
Oh god, they look good. They look really good. I kind of like the red one. It's the kind of like metallic red. But I think I'm nostalgic for that colour because it was the colour of my first bass guitar. I had a metallic red Yamaha bass guitar that was in that colour. So for the nostalgia controller, it's the black one because obviously every other controller dating back to the PS2 has been black.
Yeah, absolutely. I will probably get that one. I'll probably get the black one if I am going to get another controller. They're pricey for what they are, man. Even though the DualSense,
they really are.
The DualSense is probably the best controller I've ever used on any console, hands down.
I was looking into a controller for my computer the other week just to play a couple of games. And I kept getting recommended like the Xbox One controller the best. 360 is really good, but they don't make them new anymore, so forget about it. And I was looking and it's like, I don't want to pay 90 quid for an Xbox controller.
No.
I paid 20 quid for a cheap one. I'm bad at games anyway. What does it fucking matter?
I don't particularly want to pay $69.99 for, or however much it is for a new DualSense controller, but that black's just it's just too tasty. It's too tasty to
It'd tempt me. If I had a PS5, it would tempt me, yeah.
I'm wondering whether they're going to do PS5s in different colours as well, if this is like a precursor to that. Because I like the white one, don't get me wrong, it's nice, but I'd like a nice sleek black PS5 to go with my black controller if that was the case. But on the same score, so on the shortages, it's a big whoops in it, really. Like, I wouldn't have released a console in this day and age.
I think, well, it's not like they had case studies from other people to learn what was going to happen. Obviously, it sounds like kind of a stupid idea, but if you go back in time and tell PlayStation and you tell all of their fans that, we're cancelling the PS5, it's not coming out for like another 6 months, people would be pissed. And you know what they'd be doing? Buying Xbox.
Fucking each other in the street, which is all right for an hour, but after that you get knackered, don't you?
That, Jay. But more than likely, they'd be buying Xboxes, and PlayStation would have lost some of their market share. I'm sure they both, Xbox and PlayStation, probably had the conversation internally, like, should we not do this? But then their reaction was both the same. Well, no, because if we don't do this, the other one's going to fuck us.
Yeah, because we can't do this because they'll be fucking each other in the street, as we've already established, and we don't need none of that. So.
You're right, Jay. Your girlfriend's been away for about a week, hasn't she? Your fiance.
She's back now.
She's back. Yeah, you seem to have like one thing on your mind. So
I'm doing this quite a lot. That gives you an insight.
Yeah, she's in the. Anyone from last week might remember I got him like a crash set, and there was a stress toy in there. He's going a bit mad on it. It's a bit worn out already after a week. It is, and I'm not sure whether it's poorly made or whether I'm just that stressed, but it's just quite satisfying. It's very spongy. I like it. I like it a lot. Thank you very much. Let me have a look at what we've got here. Okay, so touch on this one very quickly, because you're quite a fan of the casting choice of Emily Blunt in Fantastic Four, aren't you? Oh, God, mate. I ain't interested in watching this film if it doesn't have Emily Blunt and John Krasinski up front.
She said some really shitty things this week about the genre in general, because like she was asked about it. I haven't got where she was or where she was asked about it, but her and John Krasinski join in Fantastic Four. And
they're obviously the biggest sort of... They're probably one of the most fan-casted pairings pretty much ever, definitely for a Marvel film. I think they are.
Well, they've said that they've had no phone calls and there's just fan casting at the moment. But she's also said that, it's not that it's beneath me, but I don't know if superheroes are for me. They're not up my alley. I don't like them. It's been exhausted. We're inundated. Not only all the movies, but it's endless TV shows as well. Not to say I'd never want to play one. It would just have to be something so cool and a cool character, and then I'd be interested. And it just sort of smacks to me that it's
See, this is classic misdirection. This is classic. I signed a Marvel contract 5 years ago, and I'm not allowed to tell anyone about it. Like, you're not breaking me, Emily Blunt. I'm a true believer.
I see through the lies of the Jedi. No, I just think that's a bit shitty. Kind of smacks to me as those kinds of people that are like, cause I had a friend like that was like, oh, I don't like all the Marvel films, they're all the same. Well, how many of them have you watched? Oh, I haven't. It's like, well, shut the fuck up then. Do you know what I mean? He's watched some of them now, bless him. Quite likes Ant-Man, do you know what I mean? But it's just sort of smacks to me as a bit like, oh, we're inundated with all the movies and the TV shows. It's like, yeah, but they're fucking
just
good.
Don't fucking watch him. Do you know how many fucking seasons of Grey's Anatomy there are? They're still making that fucking show, for Christ's sake. You think we're inundated with Marvel films? Mate, you try and sit through all of Grey's Anatomy. You think all of Marvel films are the same? Mate, again, you try and sit through all of Grey's Anatomy.
Me and Jord have been subjected to Vampire Diaries, guys. All right, you know nothing of hell, so back the fuck off. Like, look at just this year. Like WandaVision was fucking great, and Invincible was fucking great, and then Captain America Captain America and the Winter Soldier, that didn't strike a chord as much for me, but people out there fucking
still pretty
love
good.
it.
Yeah,
the
good reception.
Snyder Cut, people loved it. So there's a reason that we're inundated. It's because people like it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm more than happy for you to say, I don't like it, but don't give me that shit of, all we get are superheroes. And it just strikes me as really pretentious. I just hate it when people do that.
Yeah, see, I think that's an act more than anything else, because, I mean, let's face it, how fucking stupid would you be to say something like that if... you're an actor and you work for money. I know a lot of people want to put these actors and these public people on higher pedestals than they really deserve. But no, this is their fucking job. They like money. They wouldn't do this job at a Hollywood standard if they didn't just like money. Yeah, you can enjoy your job, but what you really go to work for is the paycheck, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
This seems like it does seem like misdirection to me, because I'm sure Emily Blunt likes money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And why wouldn't you want to be one of the starring roles in probably the most hotly anticipated franchise to return to Marvel, apart from X-Men and Spider-Man? Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you not want to be a seminal figure in there? Like you said, do you not like money? I mean, she said that she was excited when she was offered the role of Black Widow, which I didn't know that she'd been offered that. Did you know that?
No.
She was offered the role of Black Widow, or she went for it. She was obsessed with Iron Man and wanted to work with Robert Downey Jr., but didn't go for it for whatever reason. So clearly she's been to auditions for it before, but don't be a prick. Don't be a prick about it. But
no, I mean, I guess at the end of that, a lot of people, no matter what it is, if it's misdirection or what, a lot of people really like these films. So
yep.
Don't be an 80-year-old director that's stuck in their ways.
For legal reasons, we'll call that Sartin Morcasey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
No.
Did Marvel, Jamie? Did Marvel drop the ball with Drax, not the Destroyer?
It's interesting, isn't it? Well, Dave Bautista's been sort of... It seems like every other day now I'm getting a new article about Dave Bautista just being really jaded about the whole Marvel thing, like how traumatic it's become, and being a slog to play, traumatic to get into the makeup every day, and he hates it, and
Mate,
whatever.
They took all his money off him. That's the only explanation I can think of why he moaned so much. They just took all his money off him. No, dude. Okay,
it's not about money. It's about sending a message.
Yeah, good. Well, he wants to play Bane, doesn't he?
Yeah. Go on,
But I've got a few things to say about this, and I'm completely torn, to be honest, because I kind of get where he's coming from.
Me too.
They did fuck up Drax. Drax is a punchline in... The more the films go on, the more Drax is just a punchline that's got no backstory and no character. He's just there to sit with Mantis and make jokes when the scenes are a bit serious. That's all it fucking is. But then at the same page, like... Dude, this was your big breakout role after wrestling. Like, you kind of... Like, I get it, but don't be such a dick about it. I get where you're coming from.
He does say that though. He does say that though. Sorry, just to touch on it. He did say this role.
He does say about how grateful he is for what it's done for him and everything. But just if that's the case, maybe keep it to your fucking self. Maybe don't go out and say all of this. You're an actor. Like, imagine if I went on like some like highly televised thing and just started shitting on the place where I work and have worked for the past 10 years or whatever. And then expect
I thought you were going to say,
imagine
if I went on a highly televised place and just started shitting.
Well, it wouldn't. I tell you what, that would be maybe even worse. So
I'd watch it.
I tell you, mate, a lot of people would watch it.
You are 100% right, mate. There was a lot more that they could have done with Drax, and I felt that he was like the weakest aspect of Guardians 2, and that's really where they dropped the ball with him, as he says here, and kind of brought it back a little bit in Infinity War, I thought, and then dropped him off entirely in
you've got that
Endgame.
Stupid fucking "Why is Gamora" meme line coming from that, and that bothers me. That hurts, man. And the invisible stuff, like, okay, I get it. It's Drax is more a character for kids at this point. Like, he's someone
which is a shame
for the 11 and 12-year-olds to laugh at and shit. But it is a shame.
No, but even in the first Guardians, he had some great comedic scenes while still being a great character. Because Drax is a great character.
Yeah, but he was also quite like intimidating, and there was a lot of aspects to the character that basically got left in the prison in Guardians 1.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. To be fair, like I do get where he's coming from, actually. But like you said, like, don't start pointing the fingers at Marvel. And if anything, he's buddy with James Gunn, and the responsibility for that surely
James Gunn
would fall with James Gunn.
We don't always know with Marvel are very tight-lipped on, and their directors are very tight-lipped on how much involvement's gone into what, and obviously there's like an overall plan for a lot of these films and these characters, so there's some things that they have to follow, and we never really find out what that is.
No, I think you could tell the ones that have had a little bit more involvement, like the first Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and films of that ilk. They kind of smack of a little bit of interference, but then films like Civil War and Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok, you can tell they've been a little bit more hands off with it.
Well, no, because that's where I'm getting at. Like, obviously, they went into Civil War. Pretty sure it's the Russos, isn't it?
It is the Russos.
I'm not being stupid. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Russos went in with a word from Kevin Feige saying, all right, these characters have got to be here, these characters have got to be here at the end of this film. Because obviously it's not just like, okay, every other director at Marvel's just sat there with their finger up their arse waiting for Civil War to be wrapped up so they can then start writing their films and know what, in a quick rush, know where all the characters are. Like, obviously there's some sort of plan that way before these films start recording, where the characters have got to be at the end of it, so that the subsequent films can start to be written and stuff like that.
Well, I suppose that's how you have a huge interconnected universe on film and have it make sense with very little plot holes. Yeah. I mean, there are plot holes in the MCU that there's
exist. No other way to do it, is there?
No, but you got to get cliff notes from sort of like an overseeing. I've lost the word. God, yeah, there you go.
Kevin Feige. Everyone knows who Kevin Feige is at this point.
Do you know what? I would deliver like Bibles door to door for Kevin Feige. Just the word of God, and just
absolutely. I mean, if we ever get the one above all in the MCU, it's fuck off Jack Kirby. It's got to be Kevin Feige because it's got to be.
Get fucked, Jack Kirby.
Yeah,
Jord.
Rest in peace.
Do you know what, mate? I'll second that with you. If we're going to go down, we're going to go down together. Get fucked, Jack Kirby. Mukkapod 2K21.
Please, no one cut that out of context, even me, because I'm going to be editing this later and think this is kind of funny. I'll snip it out of context. I'm just going to get hate for it. So
no. Jack Kirby was a genius and a poet and a prophet, and he gave us some of the most seminal artwork of this entire genre, obviously we're fucking joking. Do you know what I mean? That, like,
obviously, but the architect of the MCU, the person responsible for its success, it's not Jack Kirby. Obviously, without Jack Kirby, it still wouldn't have been successful, but the person that is single-handedly responsible for it being the just juggernaut of film that it's Kevin, it's our mate Kev.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
Yeah, our mate Kev. Yeah,
our mate Kev.
I love that you're on first name terms with him, man. I had a beer with him called
nickname.
Kevo.
Kevo.
Right, we have reached the section of the show that is known affectionately as Sad as a Pad or Down on the Ground. So we use this section to react to trailers. We run down very quickly our thoughts on it. We tell each other whether we think it's sad as a pound or down on the ground. And the big one, the thumbnail one for this week, man, the centre of the thumbnail, Venom 2 Carnage 8. Do you want to... How would you like to do this?
Sorry, I want to one up that. Venom 2... Bit of carnage.
Well, we're getting a bit of carnage as a treat, aren't we?
Yeah,
like, I love that. I love that like the MCU's going on, and every now and then Sony will give us some Venom as a treat. Do you know what I mean? Just like to tide us over.
Don't forget about us.
How do you want to do this? Do you want me to tell you why I really like this trailer, and you can tell me why I'm wrong, or do you want to tell me why you don't like this trailer, and I'll tell you why you're wrong?
Well, I like being the one to say you're wrong, so you can start off.
I really like this trailer. Clearly, sound as a pound. Yeah, sound as a pound.
The guy who really liked the first Venom film really likes the trailer for Venom 2. Who would have thought?
Listen.
I'm listening.
I did not enjoy that Venom movie. Okay, I will absolutely say that movie.
Bullshit.
No. Listen. Okay, the character of Venom and the dynamic between Eddie Brock and Venom, I loved that aspect of it. And the film that it exists in is not a good movie, but I still enjoyed it. And this looks like more of the same, but it also looks like they're doubling down.
Okay, listen. So Jamie's lying, basically. Essentially, what Jamie's done there is tell complete bollocks.
I'm telling the truth.
That is probably the least positive thing I've ever heard Jamie say about the first Venom film.
I really enjoyed it. I'm saying subjectively I enjoyed it. Objectively, I'm not a fanboy that's
Objectively, he sits in a lobster tank. It's a bad film.
This is dead. How did you not enjoy that scene? It's funny, man.
Because I went to watch a Venom film, not whatever the fuck that was.
And I'm taking it that you're taking the position that a lot of people online are taking with the humour in this trailer, maybe being tonally at odds with it.
It doesn't land for me.
I'm here for it. It totally landed for me, especially the ending with when he threatens to eat the shopkeeper. It was pretty funny, man. And it looks like they're doubling down on that dynamic between the two that I really enjoyed from the first one. I think Carnage looks great. Carnage has got all the tendrils and weapons that he can make. I want
to see a bit more of Carnage.
Yeah, me too.
Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna watch the fucking film.
Oh god, yeah, man. Yeah, I just want to see how Andy Serkis handles the superhero property as well.
I want to see how he does this in the direct to see. Mm-hmm. And because of unless it gets absolute dog shit, 10% or less on Rotten Tomatoes, I'll go see this in the cinema. It probably won't. If I had to guess, it'll be like 40 to 60%. It's not going to be like 100% film, is it?
Definitely not. I hope that it's a bit fresher than the last one. I hope that it's maybe about 70. But imagine thinking Rotten Tomatoes are fucking relevant. Do you know what I mean? What are we doing right now? What are we doing?
It's not the only thing you can base it off. But I always think I will always check Rotten Tomatoes before I start watching something.
I'm mainly like that with shows more than I am with movies, though. I'll give it a check because sometimes Kira will find something on Netflix like, oh, that looks good. It's like, wait. You've done this to me before. Let me check Rotten Tomatoes. So in terms of this as a trailer, then you're kind of lukewarm on it, I'm guessing, or
it's sound on the ground or whatever the in between was. I'm not fussed.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. Did you notice the Daily Bugle?
I did. That was the exact logo from the Spider-Man trilogy. Wasn't it?
From Raimi verse, isn't it?
Yeah. I did notice that.
Raimi Spider-Man shows up in the Morbius trailer as well. He's a mural on the wall, and it's his Raimi iteration. So I don't know what they're doing there.
I'm pretty sure it's a lazy let's Google Spider-Man and put him on the wall sort of thing.
It's
Don't
from the
look
fucking
into
game.
it too much.
It's a loading screen from the fucking PS4 game that's on that mural.
What they've done is Googled Spider-Man and cut it out in Photoshop and just put it on there in post-production. Don't look into it.
All right, well, I had got on the docket now to talk about Green Knight, which is a film that's coming out, like a fantasy epic that's coming out, that I saw a bunch of people in the groups I've been talking about this week, but I watched about 40 seconds of the trailer, and it was just like this really dark, really dour, really generic looking thing. So I took it off, which we're not going to talk about that.
I've never heard of it, so that's good.
Yeah,
I'm not prepared to talk about it.
No, yeah, I'm not prepared to talk about something that I've never heard of.
Sorry, we need to go back. Obviously, Venom 2 trailer is. I'm guessing that sound as a pound for you.
Yeah, I said that up front. I said sound as a pound. Absolutely. I'm the worst person to ask about this, though. I'm very nostalgically attached to the character.
If there's anything like big monster wise, don't listen to Jay's opinion on it.
No, but Venom's different. Like, Venom's the first memory I've got of this franchise. Like, Spider-Man comic books, everything. I just remember seeing him in the cartoon, you know, watching that cartoon with my dad and playing the video game, the first Spider-Man video game for PS1 where Venom was a prominent character, voiced by the same guy that did Cosmo in fucking Fairy Odd Parents, actually. That's an interesting bit of trivia for you.
Fun fact. Cosmo was the thing that I drew on my leaver shirt in secondary school on the last day.
See, this was meant to be.
Cosmo on the back.
that was the fucking universe calling us together. It was like, have a podcast. Like, what's a podcast? You'll find out in the future. So the last thing that we'll talk about today is Katy Perry's music video for Electric. Now, why are we talking about Katy Perry's music video? Because it's got fucking Pikachu in it, man. And this is some of the best Pikachu content I have ever seen in my life. The thing is so fucking cute, but the downside of it is that we had to listen to Katy Perry.
So yeah, Jay made me watch this before we started recording, and I got like 20 seconds in, and I just had to fucking mute it. I'm sure on like a human level, Katy Perry's a lovely, lovely person, but please don't try and make me listen to. No, it kind of doesn't seem like it. You're right, but like even if she is, mate, don't make me listen to the shit that she puts out. I really don't want to hear this like over manufactured 30 writers per verse. With only 10 different words in the whole fucking song shit.
Don't trust me, man.
The whole genre of that shit I'm not interested in, and Katy Perry is she's the fucking figurehead of it, isn't she? So
I cannot stand Katy Perry. Like I actively dislike her, but in terms of this song, it's not the most offensive thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah,
mate, fucking know. Didn't listen to it.
It was manageable enough to see Pikachu and Pichu just being cute as fuck. I love really Pikachu's character design. It's such an inspired mascot. You know, it looks so cool for guys and it looks so cute for girls, and it's just like the best fucking.
Okay, so I'll give
mascot.
You that. Pikachu is one of the most iconic creature designs on the planet. But Jay, fat Pikachu or thin Pikachu? What's your preference?
I don't know. Chubby Pikachu's sort of made a comeback in recent years via memes and also his Gigantamax form in the latest Pokemon games, which was just Thickachu. I think modern Pikachu looks great. To be honest with you, like the lean down version.
You're probably right. It does. I think that version probably looks better, but I still prefer fat Pikachu because that's my childhood, man.
Like the first Pokemon card of Pikachu when he's like just this fat thing with yellow cheeks.
Just the blob.
That's not a fucking. That's not a mascot. Do you know what I mean? But this lean, mean, thunderbolting machine. Now that's a fucking franchise. That is, man. So, I've got to give it sound as a pound, but purely for the Pikachu.
I'm going to give it down on the ground purely for Katy Perry.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff.
And this is coming from someone that watched all 15 or whatever minutes of the Post Malone Pokemon live concert, whatever it was. It was a video on YouTube. It was a video they uploaded to YouTube. That's all it was. But I really enjoyed that.
I still need to go back and check it out because apparently it's good content for Pokemon. I don't know what it is with.
You sit here telling me that this is good and you're going to give this sound as a pound. You got to go and watch that, because yes, there's Pikachu in this, but there's the whole world of Pokemon in the in the Post Malone content.
All right, I'll give it a watch, mate. I'll give it a watch. I'll watch it tonight. I'll let you know my thoughts. But what is it with Pokemon and doing these musical collaborations with people that I don't really like? Can we get a Gojira collaboration next? Can we get a Llama God collaboration? You know, Slipknot are one of the biggest bands on the planet.
I don't think that's the family-friendly vibe that Pokemon were going for. God knows why Post Malone is. Because, well, obvious reasons.
The family-friendly vibe, mate. Have you read some of those Pokedex entries? Have you read the one for Driftbloom? It carries kids off to the afterlife, like, or steals children or something like that. Like, some of the Pokedex things are nightmare fuel. So, yeah, it's not as family-friendly as you might think.
Yeah, but, like, realistically, they were probably, like, written by some Game Freak intern back in the 90s, like, just having a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
Not by anyone in particular.
Cool beans. I enjoyed that. Guys, we're going to take you on a magical journey to 2 months ago. We're going to fuck with the time stream here, and you're about to witness a in-depth conversation about Attack on Titan Season 3 and Season 4 Part 1.
If I've got the original footage. If not, enjoy Azitgewin. I'm going to try and put this conversation in. It happened a while ago. Bear that in mind. It never got released. Jay mentioned it at the start of the podcast. But yeah, you know, here it is. Enjoy.
Yeah, happy days. Just whack it in the old format.
I hope it's good. I can't fucking remember it's been so long. But yeah, man, enjoy it, guys.
All I was going to say was that it's an in-depth conversation about Attack on Titan Season 4, Part 1 and Season 3. Spoilers. And you're going to want that spoiler warning for this particular conversation, so don't watch it if you haven't watched that Attack on Titan. So we're back then. This is it. We're back. And we're talking about Attack on Titan, which I'm excited to talk about.
You are. For those who haven't seen previous episodes, or maybe the one where we spoke about the first two series, I picked this up during lockdown and just blitzed through the first three series just in time for the fourth series to start airing. Instantly fell in love with it, and then I started pestering Jay. I was like, Jay's gonna love this. As soon as in, I think it's Season 2, when the Beast Titan comes into it, I was just like, Jay's got to watch this. Big monkey. I've been really excited every week watching the new episodes. I've been watching them literally within an hour of them coming out in the West. Every Sunday night with my partner. And at the end of the episode, the most disappointing thing to me was that I couldn't open my phone and send Jay a message.
We'll be able to do that. We'll be able to do that next time.
Yeah, next winter. Oh.
Is that when it is? Yeah. We'll come to it because I didn't know it was a two-parter. So I was thinking, we'll come to it. So yeah, part of the mission statement of this podcast is to get me to watch more anime, because I really haven't. I've dipped my toe with stuff like Digimon. Digimon's my main anime, specifically the Season 3, which is actually a good one. Like, I think you'd enjoy that. But as Digimon's a flawless piece of media that no one can ever criticise because it's objectively the best thing ever, Attack on Titan had some big shoes to fill. But I watched the first two seasons and I really liked it. I could see, like I said to you on that last episode, this has got potential to be one of these franchises that just hooks me in, and then I'm a massive fan to the point that I've got merch and posters and shit like that. And Season 3 and Season 4, yeah, absolutely. This is me falling in love with it the same as you did. I liked Season 1. I really enjoyed Season 2. These two seasons.
Season 3.
It's something fucking else.
Specifically the second part of Season 3. Yep. It's a masterpiece.
Absolutely. The biggest chef's kiss. The biggest chef's kiss that you can give it, mate. It's gold. Yeah. But shall we talk a little bit first about Season 3 Part 1 before we get into the really good stuff?
You bring stuff up and I'll try and remember.
I shall too. So the first thing that I've got here is that it's a massive departure from normal. I think I even text you about it. Like, I'm 6 episodes in and there's no Titans. This isn't Attack on Titan. This is Attack on Bastards. So that's the thing. It's a lot more more of a kind of like, it brings in sort of the political side of Paradis and the corruption within the royal family, stuff like the false king, who has, as it turns out, affected the memories of everyone that lives in there, so that they kind of forget their own history. And for each episode I'm watching it, I'm like, what? So it took me a minute or two to get my head around some of these concepts that were coming out in this season. So I kind of missed the Titans, but they gave a good antagonist in its stead, with sort of like the Reese royal family and Kenny the Ripper. Good character. We like Kenny.
We like him.
Do we like him? That's what
I don't like him. He's a good character.
I like him. I like him for what he was, man. He was. I
think he was a great character. Don't get me wrong. A really good character. Great addition to the show. That also set up a lot of stuff that paid off quite well with Mikasa, and a lot of stuff that made me just go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that makes sense, over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I like him to the degree of as an Ackerman in this world, especially within the walls, you're dealt a fucking shit hand, aren't you? Essentially, and this guy has made the best of a shit situation, to the point that he ended up on the council and ended that whole Ackerman persecution. To the point where people like that sort of paved the way then for people like Mikasa and also Levi. And this season allows certain characters, but especially Levi, to take centre stage, and this character being kind of this character kind of being integral to his background. That was really interesting. Like I raised this kid and I brought him up, and you can see that Levi still got that kind of sensibility within his personality, like the kind of the ruthlessness that would come from kind of surviving on the street, as it were. One of the highlights of the entire season, and you watched the dub version, so you wouldn't have seen this, and I feel so bad for you. It's Levi's sub actor seeing Kenny for the first time and shouting, "Kenny!" It was the highlight. Like, absolutely beautiful. That's the end. The end of the first episode ends with him leaping at the camera, yelling that, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be something special this season. Yeah, talking about Levi, because when we did the last episode, I asked, who's your favourite character? And you, without a hesitation, it's like, oh, it's Levi, definitely.
Yeah, it's Levi.
And I could kind of see that.
Levi, true MC.
Absolutely. This is what I'm going to say, because I could kind of see that. But season 1, I get it. He's a cool character, and then he has season 2 off, doesn't he? He has a week off. He's wearing that black jacket. He's got his arm in a cast. He's drinking his tea like that, which I've been trying to do, but it kind of seems impractical to do it with the claw hand. But yeah, in season 3, absolutely, Jord, validation, mate. Not that you needed me to validate that for you, but Levi, true protagonist, believe the hype 110%, and that really shows in this sort of first. I'm
jumping ahead, but just the Beast Titan stuff with Levi is it's some of my absolute favourite stuff in this show. Like, he strikes fear into that man's heart.
Yeah, it seems like one of the best rivalries in the show is Beast Titan and Levi. I had a good episode that I watched this afternoon with that, but again, we're jumping ahead, so I'll come back to that. Yeah. My favourite character, up to a point, was not Levi, it's Erwin Smith, and he got a lot of play in the first half of season 3. The first half of season 3 belongs to Erwin, Levi, and Hanj, or is it Hanjay? How do you Hanj?
Just say Hanj.
Yeah. They
I think Hanji is a nickname for her, maybe, or something. I don't know.
I've heard certain podcasters talking about her and calling her Hanji. I think a lot of the pronunciation in this is up to interpretation. Like, a lot of people call Mikasa and stuff like that, but I've watched the Japanese only, so to me it's Mikasa. That's it. That's what I know. It's like, I've never met Connie Springer, but I have met Connie Springer. No, yeah, absolutely. Just while I'm on the subject of of Levi and Mikasa and Kenny. Is there some kind of power set for those guys? Is there something genetic that makes them all, like fantastic fighters and
I
things
believe
like that?
so, yeah.
Have they got like Titan blood in them or something like that?
I don't think it's explained that deeply. I think it's more just they are good fighters. Whatever it is that means that they are, they are.
So yeah, I liked Erwin's backstory where you see he was kind of like a free thinker. He had a bit of independent thought, and he was questioning the history that he was being taught in school, to the point that he got his fucking parents killed. But so then he was like, okay, I'm going to shut up about this now because there's some truth to this. I've got my dad killed here from talking about it to whoever will kind of listen type thing. But by keeping his mouth shut about it, he was able to sort of climb the ranks and become this high-ranking official within the scout regiment. And he was able to offset a lot of the wheeling and dealing that was sort of trying to take Eren, as who we find out is the current inhabitant of what they call the founding Titan, and the government is trying throughout all of Attack on Titan to get this man, Eren Yeager, in their possession. And Erwin knows that shit's wrong here and there's more to outside the wall than what we know. I just don't know what it is. So, but this kid plays an important role, so I'm going to use my power and influence to sort of keep him out of the hands of this corrupt ruling elite, and it pays off for him. Like I think Erwin is one of the best characters of the show. I missed him in season 4. So.
Really? Yeah, no, I did think he was really good, but I'm glad it was Armin that got saved, because
we're going to have shall we jump? Do you want to have that discussion now? Because we're going to have a conflict of interest here. I absolutely think that Erwin should have had the injection. The tactical mind of Erwin Smith with the power of the Colossal Titan would have been a powerhouse. Do you know what I mean? Like, and none of the shit that goes down in season 4 would have happened the way it did if Erwin was still running the ship. I genuinely think that. I don't think that would have.
See, I think Armin's
down.
probably just as valuable tactically. I mean, he hasn't really done anything in season 4, but I think in season 3 and earlier seasons, he really did prove himself. But I also think Erwin, he had a much more military mindset, and like Bertholdt was a good person to have the Colossal Titan, because you are a nuke. You are a nuclear weapon. You are so immensely powerful, and it's not even the Titan that's powerful. It's the transformation, and I think something like that belongs with such a sensible character like Armin.
You see, the thing is though, if Erwin had it, like you said, he's got way more of a military mind, so he kind of knows how the game's played. So you might have been able to have played at politics and staved off a little bit of death and destruction with someone like that. Plus, maybe, I just liked him, and he wanted to. I mean, Armin gets to see the sea, so happy days for him. But Erwin never got to see what was in that basement. Do you know what I mean? And that was his one.
The fucking basement, mate.
Oh. What's in the basement?
That was a meme for the longest time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Right, so are we going to just sidestep the fact that Armin got fucking touched up in that first episode? Are we? Because that's never brought up again. But
yeah, let's leave that.
Yeah, let's leave
that alone.
That was a fucking hard scene, man. That was uncomfortable, but it's not the fucking most uncomfortable thing in this first arc, mate, because there's a lot going on with Krista / Historia, and you come to find out that she's like the descendant of the actual royal family, not the Fritz family who are like the sitting royals, but like the actual royal family, the Reeses or Rices. So her spoiler alert for Attack on Titan season 3 and 4, we've done it again.
Classic us.
Classic us. So they've got beef, major beef with the Yeager family, because Grisha Yeager came in and fucking
Just fucked him
slaughtered
up.
fucked him up.
He just fucked
him up, took the founding Titan, and now it lies with Eren, which I believe comes to light in this season as well. How Titans become these 9 superpower Titans, to where you have to a person will become what they call a pure Titan. Tell me if I'm getting this wrong. A person becomes a pure Titan, and then has to eat a person that is holding the power of one of these special intelligent Titans, and then they have that Titan's power. They don't become the person, but they become the Titan's power, which is why pure Titans are being very fucking just motivated by instinct. This is why they're drove to eat people, because they've got a slim chance of becoming human again, and that's why it drives as just like a base instinct, as it were. So Krista's family have got beef with the Jaeger family, and they want Krista to consume Eren to become the founding Titan again. So the founding Titan's back in the family. I'm not a huge fan of Eren getting kidnapped for the 3rd arc in a row. I believe it is. But that's neither here nor there. But when Historia rejects this, and then her father Rodders turns into this fucking slug Titan that drags itself across miles and miles to the wall, and then when it pulls itself up, I think what they're implying is that he erodes his face as he's dragging himself along, and then when he pulls himself up, the imagery there lived rent-free in my brain for a good couple of days, and I'm getting uncomfortable talking about it now. I had my feet on the floor, I was watching it on the sofa, and then when he stands up and it shows you that image, I pulled my feet up off the sofa and hugged them into my chest and went, oh!
It's not sexy, is it, mate?
Didn't like that. Well, it depends
he's
on
got
what you
half
like,
a skull at this point, or 3/4 of a skull. It was, I mean, us talking about it, it's not going to do it justice. You have to, and if you're listening to at this point, I assume you've seen it and can share in our discomfort of how horrible that looks.
Yeah.
I mean, well done, animators. You've pulled it off. You've done it, mate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You went for it. Whether you should have gone for it is up in the air. But
and I'd forgot about that until you decided that you wanted to send me a nice screenshot of it just after you'd watched it.
I had to share it with you, mate. I had to share my my horror with you. But then the Scout Corps, or the Scout Patrol, the Scout Regiment, sorry, go on to fight this thing to defend. Is it Trust? I think it's Trust, where he's pulled himself up. And they actually win. And they win quite handedly. And Eren, in his Titan form, fucking wins a fight for once. And I'm like, oh my God. Yes, mate.
Well done, yeah.
Very nice, yeah. But that was quite an optimistic ending, I thought. Like, Historia gets crowned as the... Is there anything that you wanted to say about the royal family and that whole arc before I move on from it? Because I'm about to go
I just want to say that it was some good action.
Yeah.
In the cavern, I thought it was good, but as I said, it's been quite a while since I've seen that bit, so I can't remember the specifics. But no, it was good. It was good. It was completely overshadowed by the second half of the season, in my opinion.
100%. This might even be my least favourite arc in the whole thing. If I was going to rank it, I'd probably put this down the bottom. But that's not saying it's bad. It's my least favourite.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you now. I give everything an 8 out of 10 up to the second half of season 3, which is... I gave it a 9 out of 10 at the time. I would probably go back now and give it a 10 out of 10. And season 4, part 1, is a 9 out of 10 as well.
If you're gonna give it all a 9 out of 10, the season 3 part 2, that is absolutely fine if you want to do that until you get to that last batch of episodes. And then it's 10 out of 10.
12 out of 10.
12 out of 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we go into that though, I thought it was an oddly optimistic ending that, you know, everybody's cheering and waving him off and Aaron's giving it the shout and the rest of them are giving it the shout and everyone's like, yeah, guys, because that's like, they've never gotten that before. They've never gotten a send-off like that. And obviously Historia's been crowned queen and all's happy days, right? But that just heightens the tension because the rules established by the universe of Attack on Titan dictates that cannot last.
No.
And it doesn't.
Not.
And I'm interested to know whether you saw the post-credit screen, the scene on that episode, because I know that you skipped the endings.
I can't fucking remember, Jay.
It goes through the ending as normal, and then it kind of glitches like the old game Slender when the Slender Man used to catch you,
Right?
And it flashes forward to when Levi, Mikasa, and Eren. I mean, eventually we'll find out that they're arguing over who gets the injection, Erwin or Armin. But it just shows you like Levi drenched in blood, and he's like, "You guys don't have a fucking clue what you're doing." And then he hits Eren, and Mikasa puts the sword on his throat, and then it just cuts back to credits. And I was like, there you go. There's what they call the fucking in, you know, when things are going too well, and you get uneasy about it, and then something bad happens. It's like, oh yeah, that's the fucking in. So now we are into season 3, part 2, which is some of the best episodes of TV I've watched in my life.
100%. Yeah.
Whether anime or not.
I really struggled. I really struggled to find something that's better than these. I enjoy a lot of shows, but this to me is, it's just some. It's I've jizzed about this episode.
I was going to say, you just made your cum face, man. I'm uncomfortable there.
You'd know.
Go on, you cheeky bitch. Go on.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's the part where I got to the whole time while you were watching it. I was just like, I can't wait till Jay gets. I can't wait till season 4. Yeah, it's good. I really liked it, but. The thing that I wanted you to experience was the second half of season 3. Season 3, part 2.
It came off gangbusters, mate. I cannot gush about it enough. So you have what, like 3 or 4 episodes of the best action in the whole show. Like you got that first episode with the rise in tension. And I actually kind of thought something that comes into play later. But I didn't think too much about it, and I probably could have potentially predicted something if I'd thought about it, because they're looking for they turn up to Shinga. That's always eluded me how to pronounce that. Shingashina, right? Shingashina. They've come back and they're looking for Reiner and Bertolt, or they're expecting some kind of ambush because it's been smooth sailing. They haven't seen a Titan on the entire ride down here. That is really unusual. So where are they hiding? And Armin finds a campsite on top of the wall and says they're drinking some kind of strange black tea. And there's a fucking cafetiere in the shop. And I noticed that because I'm a big coffee fan, and I'm thinking, they're drinking coffee? Where do you get coffee? But that kind of appeared in my mind and then left as soon as it came. But if I'd thought about it, I could have probably guessed some of these upcoming twists. The outside world is way more advanced than actually with inside the wall. It's kind of like that film The Village, although they're done way better and not as convoluted as M. Night Shyamalan did it, but sort of like the world outside of the walls turns out to be way more advanced, and they've got photographs and shit like that. But I could have probably thought something like that if I'd have dwelled on that coffee maker. And then when you go back and watch the intro, it's in the fucking intro. They pan past it and there's the cafetiere or the coffee grinder or whatever it is on the floor. So they wanted you to fucking notice that and start thinking about it. And like there's a lot of foreshadowing in this show actually when you go back and look at it.
There is a lot, yeah. Because obviously I watched through I watched through the first 3 seasons episode by episode, and then it's Crunchyroll, I believe. No, Crunchyroll or Funimation, I can't remember which one. Mm-hmm. They released a 2-hour film that condenses everything that happens in those first 3 seasons, and I watched that again with Kate. And even though obviously that's very, very condensed, I mean, there's whole arcs cut out of that.
What a waste.
It's still it is, yeah, and actually because she enjoyed season 4 so much, we are going to go back and watch from the very start, or maybe from season 2, because she did catch quite a lot of season 1 with me.
That'll kill some time until next fucking winter, won't it?
Because it's too rough for us to be able to watch while the kids are awake. So yeah.
Yeah. You can't get away with that. Although I have recommended it to my son now because he's edging towards 13, and he was talking to me about anime, and I'm like, mate, you want to watch Attack on Titan? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, I will. And then he recommended something to me, but I can't remember what it is he recommended, so I'll text him after the show and find out what that was. So yeah, it's all a big trap.
I bet it was My Hero Academia.
It was something like that. Like that.
Don't watch it.
But it ends up... Okay, sorry if you are listening to this, son, but like I do trust this man more on anime than I do on you. But
no, it's all right. We'll remind me about it in a bit, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So it's all a big trap. Reiner comes out the walls, and then the Beast Titan turns up with a fuckloads of Titans, and they are fucked, and the entire Scout regiment, save our main characters, get fucked, man. Now I really liked Marlowe, right? I liked that character. I liked him in season 1 when he stood up to the corrupt military police. I liked him in this season when he finds Levi's squad and he's like, no, actually, I've got your sensibilities. I'll fucking help you. I'll join you. And so watching him get twatted in the face by a brick was not a nice experience, man. I did not like that.
That was such a tense couple of episodes.
Trust me, man. Trust me. It seemed like our main guys had a bit of plot armor, a little bit.
But then also at the same time, like even though I knew how much plot armor they had, I was just like, any one of these, save for Eren or Mikasa, could fucking die brutally now.
And they make you think that they do, because like Armin's death, I fucking felt that, man. Like I went through the emotions of watching a character I was attached to die, and I texted you about it, and I was like, that fucking sucked. I was not ready for that. And then I texted you about 5 minutes later, like, oh, never mind, I see what they're doing with this episode. and they make you think Hange is dead as well when Bertolt comes down.
I was really sad about that. She is one of my favourite characters. I'd say she's like a sub main character. Like she's not one of the
really
main ones.
She's really cool. She's so witty and funny, and
side character, she's very
different from any other character that's in this show.
Yeah.
Like I love Hanji. It's like,
she steps up after Erwin. She really steps up.
Did you know, like, we're calling her she, and she's got a female voice in the anime, but in the manga, the creators left it a bit more ambiguous, and hasn't stated that they use gender-neutral pronouns, and it's up to the reader when they talk.
I didn't know that
at all.
No?
Oh, yeah, I think that's kind of cool.
I do, believe it or not, I don't own any Attack on Titan manga.
What's it called? It's not Attack on Titan, is it? It's
Shingeki no Kyojin.
There you go. I just
but when it's
head,
translated, it is Attack on Titan.
That's an Attack on Titan. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the fake out in media. The death fake out because
you had a big problem with the season 1 fake out with Eren, didn't you?
I did. I had they fake out with Hange, and they do it twice this season. They do it once in the cavern. Sorry, when they're all going around on the ODM gear, and she takes a fucking tumble against one of those crystal structures, hits the floor, and the camera lingers on her in a pool of blood. And then they do it again when the Colossal Titan drops the nuke. And then they do it with Armin, and I'm just not a huge fan of it in media in general. Because I just find it manipulative, and then when something does happen and you are meant to feel it, you don't feel anything because you're thinking, nah, surely not, kind of thing.
Oh, you're absolutely fucking wrong. There's a death in season 4 that just fucking tore me apart.
Yeah, but I was expecting them to backpedal on it. That's the thing. I would have felt that a lot more if they weren't doing so many death fake outs. That's a nitpick. It's a personal taste thing. It's not against the show. I'm just saying it for my personal taste. So yeah, do you want to talk about Levi versus Beast Titan then? Because I know you brought this up a little bit earlier, and this is their first kind of, he sort of says to Levi, says to Erwin, we're going to have to lead these guys. Or no, is it Erwin that says it to Levi? We're going to lead these guys on a suicide charge. This is the only way we're going to get out of here. And it's you need to take that opportunity to kill the fucking Beast Titan.
Yeah.
And he wins quite handily, man. Like Levi comes down in a spiral, chops
But
his
it's
arm
also,
off.
from what they've built up of Levi, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. It's fucking Levi, man. He's he's OP as fuck. And it's great action. It's a great fight. It's really well done. Sometimes with stuff on this scale, you sort of struggle to remember at all times where everyone is and stuff like that. I don't think that's a problem here. I don't think that's a problem that this show has in general.
No, Attack on Titan tracks really well with its action. That's
Yeah.
the thing I was going to say. Yeah.
But it's just how, we've up until this point, Zeke has been one of the cockiest pricks on the planet.
Well, we don't know. We
He
don't
really
know Zeke
got
at
put
this-
in his
at this-
fucking place.
At this point, we don't know that it's Zeke, but yeah, it was nice to see.
It's a character's fucking name. Excuse me,
but,
Jamie.
Yeah, sorry. But at the time, it was nice to see the Beast Titan get taken down a fucking peg quite handily as well. Like, not really much of a struggle, really. If it hadn't been for the Cart Titan, he would have won that. Like, he would be dead. He wouldn't be or captured or whatever. He wouldn't be a player in the later part of it. So yeah, no, really fucking great action. Great to see Levi doing what Levi does best. I also liked the way that they kind of hoodwink. Kind of concurrently, there's a fight going on between Armin, Eren, and the Colossal Titan, and I kind of like the way that they hoodwink Bertolt into thinking, Eren's down there all fucked up, he's not going to do anything, so what are you doing? Fine, I'll make it quick for you then, and completely
And then we actually get Eren fighting in his ODM gear for the first time in a long time.
A long time, yeah. I think I saw something earlier about that. He's killed 2 Titans in human form, and that's it. It was the Colossal Titan and then some random no-namer. So after the dust has cleared from 4 episodes of intense action, you'd think that it would not get more intense than that, but the episode following that, on the rooftop, is one of the most intense 23 minutes I've ever sat through in anything ever, and it's not an action episode, it's just pure character shit. I've got little problems I've got with it. One that we've already discussed, that I think it, I mean, obviously it makes sense from a main character standpoint and an emotional standpoint that it was going to be Armin. I never thought for a second that it was going to be Armin that didn't get revived or whatever, but it should have been Erwin. It, in my opinion,
so maybe I'd feel differently. So while I was watching, I think it was even season 1, I was doing a bit of reading on the wiki about the origin of the Titans.
Yes,
and on that page it did mention, at that point in the manga, this was before the manga's just finishing now, but this was quite a bit ago, so maybe things have changed or will change. It told me who all the current Titans were, and Armin was the Colossal Titan. So I had been waiting for it for a long time.
Oh, Jord, I'm sorry about that. That's a big one, man.
It was, yeah. It was. I managed to forget everything else because there weren't character names that I recognised at that point in time. The only other thing that I knew, jumping into season 4, is I knew from that point as well that Eren was getting the Warhammer.
Right, yes.
As well, those were the two sort of really big spoilers that I knew going into these.
The only one I
episodes.
got that's even slightly comparable to that is that I saw a meme of season 4 Eren in his trench coat with his fucking 8-pack of truth and the abs that you could grate cheese on, and the caption was, "Jesus Christ, what are they feeding him?" And then somebody had replied, "His dad." And that was the only,
because you wouldn't have recognised that as being Eren, would you, without that comment?
No,
because we didn't fucking recognise him as Eren.
No, yeah. we'll get to that, but so for after an intense episode and an intense exchange and a quite passionate plea from Eren to Levi as to why, because Levi's quite set on, nah, it's Erwin. Erwin is getting this injection. I'm sorry, but he is. That's just how it's going to go down. Mikasa loses her shit. Hanj is kind of on the side of of Levi, like holding Mikasa back, talks her down, calms her down, makes her see reason, and then Eren gives quite an impassioned plea to Levi. You know, he's not like anyone else. You know what I mean? Like Armin wants to see the seed, and that's his. He's not motivated by greed or power or anything. He deserves his life. Like, please, almost he's saying, and eventually that cuts through with Levi. I don't know. I can't quite think, and I don't know if you've got any insight on this or any opinions, but I'm not quite sure what makes the switch flick for Levi, because I know that Eren kind of bats his arm away because he's close to death, he's hallucinating, and he's thinking about when he used to put his hand up at school, and he says that thing about how do we know that humanity has been wiped out outside the walls, but I'm not sure why that particular set of dialogue makes Levi think, okay, well, Armin then.
No, perhaps I'd have a better answer if I'd watched it more recently, but I can't remember what I thought at that time. I really can't.
Is it because, and this is what I hypothesize, is it just because he mentioned seeing outside the walls and it made Levi think of what Eren had just said, or
I don't know.
I'm not sure why Levi decided to, but the point is he did, and then we get to how do I even start these next batch of episodes, man? I want to talk about Grishka and his flashbacks, and fucking hell, they've got cards. Maybe potentially, because that Kruger guy does say, like, you know,
that was one of the. I mean that, yeah. So
that's not even been explained yet. Like,
no, it hasn't. So the guy who
can I point out as well, for if anybody has made it this far into the podcast, that we are anime watchers. We're anime only as it stands. Don't be a prick, and because we know the manga's over now, don't be a prick and put shit in the comments, because we do have to fucking read them, or one of us will eventually, just so please don't fucking do that.
We only get like 5 on a good day, so like
I know, but like it only takes one of them to be a bellend,
read them all, so please don't spoil it, because I'm really looking forward to this. If I want to know what happens in the manga, I'll buy the manga. It's I will do it.
What the fuck? It went in a direction that I just did not expect at all. That they've got airships, they've got cars, they've got, you know, photos, they've cameras, everything, and yeah, like when it cuts there, you see that it's a Holocaust and allegory, isn't it?
It is.
It makes me uncomfortable. But it's supposed to. Do you know what I mean? There would be more cause for concern if I was sat here like, oh, it's the Holocaust, sound. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that it makes me uncomfortable is important.
That's a great clip out of context.
I'll make it. Yeah. But go on. I'm waffling, mate. I can't. I need to wrap my thoughts around it a little bit more. You talk for a bit on this. So
there was a part of this plot point that fucking haunted me, and that's Grisha's sister. You really learn a lot about what Mali as a country are like. You learn all you fucking need to know about this place, from the fact that him and his sister, when they were younger, escaped the internment part of it, the area that they are confined to, took off, I think, if I remember correctly, they took off their bands or something like that, or they didn't. But anyway, they got identified by what is essentially police officers for being what's the children of Ymir, Eldians,
the subjects,
of Ymir, yeah. And this little fucking girl was raped by this police officer. Like, really horrific stuff. And then
I didn't catch that.
I believe that's what I might be talking out my ass here, but I'll double check. God knows what I need to Google for this.
Grishka's sister or something, because I saw that she was ripped apart by dogs, but I didn't get that. That's horrible. That is horrible, man. I hate these fucking people, the Malians. Like, I'll go into it a little bit more in in the season 4 discussion just now, but I cannot fucking stand these racist arseholes, man. I hate them. But I suppose I don't know whether that's what the show wants me to, or whether I'm learning the wrong lessons from this, like a lot of our protagonists do. I'm learning the wrong lesson of this cycle of violence. But no, these people can get fucked as far as I'm concerned. Have you found what you're looking for?
So I'm not sure if it's it doesn't, maybe it isn't stated. That's what I understood from it, because they left the young boy and took the young girl. But yeah, they did kill her for fun, essentially. I guess it might not be canon that she was raped, but that is always what I assumed from it.
Horrifying either way, to be honest with you.
Horrifying stuff, yeah.
Yeah. You can
see
why
a couple of episodes.
You can see why hate courses through his veins at that, and
absolutely.
You can probably see why. Well, I do anyway. I see why our main boy Aaron, who gets the memories of his father via method of consumption, why he takes the turn he does in the following season, because he obviously getting these memories through, and it has an effect on his mental state and whatever. But yeah, this kind of fills Grishka with a resolve to kind of liberate his people. And then they're kind of sat around. What do they call themselves? The Elden Restoration Front.
The Elden Restorationists.
And they're sat around this table discussing things. And I've started to recognise a few of these people's faces. And I'm like, where have I seen those before? And then it cuts to a guy who's sort of balding with a long grey beard. And it dropped, and I screenshot that because I was watching it on my phone, and I went to text it to Jord, like, no fucking way are they doing this. And then I realised it was like 2:00 in the morning, and I'd been watching it for about 4 hours, so I banked that, and I was like, I'm not going to text him that now. So these are the fucking Titans that we've... Holy shit.
Yeah, it's yeah. So the end of season 3, it's such a big reveal. It's everything makes fucking sense.
Yeah.
And, and we find out stuff like Erin's dad's ex-wife ate Erin's mom.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And not only that, but she's like of the royal descent.
She is, and also that's why he could command the Titans that one time out on the field, because at the moment that he tried to, he was touching her, and she's got royal blood to be able to activate the founding Titan as it was. Yeah.
Without kind of being bound by the all the royal family that possessed the founded Titan have a uncontrollable urge of pacifism. Do you know what I mean? Like they can never take the fight outside the walls. It's always sort of like a non-violent kind of sit back and preserve ourselves within the wall kind of thing. And contact with the royal blood seems to allow Eren to bypass that. And yeah, that crew of Titans that we were seeing in season 1 were the original members of his dad's restoration front, and that blew my mind. So Zeke, did you see a little blonde-haired shit that grassed him up and think Beast Titan, or did you have to wait for it to be stated? Because I was just like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Going into it, I already knew that it was. Another thing I should point out, when I saw the list of where the Titans were, I did also notice that the Beast Titan shared a last name with Eren.
Right.
And I knew that
when you were looking at the wiki, yeah.
Okay. So it's not something like I could say whether I would have figured it out or not, because I already knew it. I knew in season 3 when I saw him. So there he is. That's him.
I thought the Beast Titan was his dad in another life and form, a bit of peroxide, and they were going to explain for however reason he came back, and I texted you. I was like, I'm going to predict that right now. You can take it to the bank. And you were like, Jay, I'm not going to entertain this. His dad's dead as fuck. Like, I don't normally do this, but you're wrong.
He was dead as fuck, mate.
He was, mate. Oh, and that was yeah, like you say, it's a haunted couple of episodes. That ending sequence with him tied up and watching his friends and his wife go through that, it is uncomfortable. It's nasty to watch. I didn't enjoy it. It was amazing, but I didn't enjoy it.
The owl or whatever it is that his code name?
The owl, yeah.
He was not about saving Grisha's wife. He was not about that life. He could be arsed, mate.
but has he got some sort of time travel clairvoyance though, because of his weird? I'm not sure.
It seems
about
to me, because he said I think it was, he said we have to protect Armin and Mikasa.
Armin and Mikasa. Yeah.
So maybe we know that when you get a Titan, you get it's not like you just automatically unlock every memory from the past Titans. Mm-hmm. But also maybe it's not bound by time. You can also have memories of future Titans. And the reason that no one's ever gotten memories past Eren, spoilers potentially, no one after Eren gets those Titans.
That is spoilers potentially.
I mean, it's all theory at the moment, but that's what would make sense to me.
Yeah, especially if they go through with what they go through with in season 4, that does make a lot of sense. But so then, in the epilogue of season 3, part 2, they finally go outside the walls, and they've managed to get rid of all the Titans, and the world's finally theirs to explore. And what I found really interesting about this little section here is Eren's change of heart, whereby you see him as like this, you know, at the start he's like a very typical shonen protagonist, and you know, I'm gonna fucking slay all the Titans and wipe them from this earth. And then you see that kind of one pathetic one that's crawling along, and Eren very gently puts a hand on his shoulder or something and says, like, you know, one of the patriots. And I kind of like that about turn from it, now that he's sort of recontextualized it with his father's memories, that he can kind of see. Because I've got a backpedal as well. Character development fucking came out of nowhere. I did not like Eren. I don't know about you. Or not that I didn't like him, but I didn't care for him as the main character. He wasn't one of my favourites. But he becomes one of my favourite boys to watch in this, from these last couple of episodes and then into season 4. Really like what they're doing with Eren. But I'd need to backpedal as well before we go too far away from the Titans and why they look human, because I had a big problem with it, right? Because I thought it was a weird choice and I didn't like it, and I thought, you know, they've got good designs for the Titans in this. Why aren't they using them for all of them?
And I was just like, hold in there, Jay, hold in there. There's a reason. I'm not saying anything else. I'm saying that for weeks.
I was totally wrong.
Yes.
And I get it, and I'm on board with it. Yeah,
I'm really glad you've said that. I forgot to ask you about it, but there's a perfect reason, and it's a very, very important part of this story overall. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it just totally, because I thought that something like this was going to happen, but I didn't know it was going to happen like this. And I said to Jord in the last episode, there's nothing that's going to happen plot-wise that's going to make me like these creature designs anymore. I was wrong. Like, I get it. I'm on board with it. Like, it wouldn't have worked any other way. Do you know how the creator came up with the concept for the Titans being the way they are? Have you heard that little bit of trivia? So I forget his name off the top of my head, the creator of Attack on Titan, and I do apologise, but he had an altercation with a drunk person, which is something I'm very familiar with, having done 2.5 years at nightclub doors, and he walked away from that experience. And what really stuck with him was how there was no reasoning or communication to be had with this person, with this thing, despite being the same race. And that really stuck with him. And also, giants are kind of gross, and that was the genesis for the idea of using that. Yeah,
that's brilliant.
So yeah. So yeah, they get to go outside the walls, and finally Armin makes it to the sea, and you get a nice little bit of respite where they're kind of playing and splashing around in the water and whatever. But yet again, the rules of this show dictate that can't last. Cut to our boy Aaron, who's having a nice day at the beach, and he's like, "Hey lads, what if we fucking went over there and killed everyone? Like, what if we just had a little swim over there and just fucking killed them all?" I'm like, "Oh, Aaron, you've learnt all the you've learnt all the wrong lessons from this, mate." This that circular cycle of violence and revenge, and yeah, like he's on a bit of a revenge kick going into season 4. He's in a much darker place. I mean, Aaron's always been a certifiable lunatic, but he's like a calm certifiable lunatic now, and that makes him even scarier.
Yeah,
I think
so before we get onto that, so season 3 out of 10. We've already said this, but what would you give season 3 out of 10?
As a whole or in parts?
Both.
If I had to rate it as a whole, like season 3 from beginning to end, it's probably an 8. Season 3 part 1, 7. Season 3 part 2, 10.
Okay, I'd give part 1 an 8, and it's a good 9.5 for part 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's stopping me from giving it a 10. It wasn't long enough. That's what it is. I wanted more of that.
Our characters
pace.
who
I was very disappointed starting season 4 that it wasn't immediately carrying on and giving me more of season 3 part 2, essentially.
Yeah, I had to watch the first episode twice of season 4. One thing I'll say. Sorry, one thing I was trying to say then before we go into season 4. I think the only thing that holds it back is that some of our side characters who we absolutely love, they get sidelined a little bit. You know, people like Connie and John and Sasha. They don't get a lot of play this season. Nor should they, really. And like you said, the negative there is that it's not long enough. Because if we had more time to play in the sandbox, some of these side characters who we enjoy watching, they haven't got arcs in this season. They've got more like moments, throwaway gags and lines and things like that, which is fine. It's like you've got stuff like Jean hesitating to kill one of Kenny's gang at the beginning of the season, and Armin has to make his first kill, and that really fucks him up. So you got little character moments like that, but not a lot to play with. So that's probably one of the only things that kind of takes it from a 10 out of 10 to a 9.5 potentially. But yeah, season 4. It's
stop right there.
Go on.
We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back in a few minutes.
You need nicotine.
Yes. We are back.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump off with season 4 now, and I just want to quickly talk about episode 1 and then the couple of episodes that follow it from this 4th and final season.
Is that intentional that they did that?
I knew it was coming from the start, basically.
You should have told me.
You should have I should have, but I thought you knew.
I didn't.
Okay, so before I get to episode 1, I'll quickly talk about this. The manga wasn't finished when this started airing.
That's it then.
And there was too much ground left in the manga to cover. So this wasn't going to be it. I was betting on a movie, but we get in a second part to the series, and
that's not to be snuffed at.
It's absolutely not. But yeah, that comes from somebody who hasn't read the manga, so I don't know exactly how much was left.
Go on. First episode
1.
Yep.
Is one of my favourite episodes of all of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal. This is how you fucking introduce new characters 4 seasons deep into a show. I came away. I mean, obviously, my opinion of Gabby changes somewhat, but in episode 1, she's fucking badass.
Yeah,
she's a strong
awesome
character. Falco is. I'm also very interested in Falco.
Yes.
But Gabby steals this episode completely. But also the world building, the action, the character development from people we've just met. It's all there. It's brilliant.
The way they utilise the Titans in warfare as well. Sticking them in straight jackets, and then it's a Titan bomb, essentially.
It is, yeah.
And
it's
the
so
implications of
creative.
this, now, knowing what we know about the Titans now, the implications of this whole fucking thing are horrible, and it upsets me, man. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. These are bad guys. This is not a good country to live in.
No.
Unless you are...
Racist arseholes, but and like the Eldons that live there are like indoctrinated from a very young age to work against their best interests. Like if any of these Eldians had any of these kids, the warrior candidates had a fucking brain cell between them, they'd be defecting to Paradis and working with them for what.
But they've been propagandized from such a young age, especially the warrior candidates.
Mm-hmm. You can't undo that kind of social programming.
Not quickly. I think Falco's personally going to be the first one to go.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But also, Paradis have made it so hard to defect to them.
Yes, because they're so isolated, as it were, from the world.
But these warrior candidates, their first experience with the devils is them being fucking devils, essentially, with Eren and Armin. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. This first episode, phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Then nothing happens for 3-4 episodes.
It's all... See, I've got a slightly different opinion than you, because I kind of liked what they were doing here. Maybe watching it back to back rather than week by week affected it somewhat. So I've got a bit of a different.
Because I had a month of not really much of anything. I had a month of a couple of episodes that didn't really give me that hit of Titan that I needed.
It is said in this very season within dialogue that, your opinion changes of people. You can think that somebody is a scumbag and a devil or whatever until you spend time under the same roof as them. And I think that's what they're trying to do with these first couple of episodes. So when shit hits the fan in a few episodes' time, you're kind of conflicted a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
I get the reason for those episodes. I really, really do. Mm-hmm. And they make what happens later on in the season much, much, much more impactful. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I wanted more. But when I was past it, it's whatever. I'm talking about it here because we're talking about all of it. But it didn't. As I said, this season is still a 9 out of 10 for me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. An absolute 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Reiner was gonna fucking kill himself, man. That was pretty dark. I thought, like, he had a gun in his mouth at one point in these first couple of episodes.
It was pretty dark.
Whoa!
Yeah. And his rant about Sasha was amazing. Let's potato-eating monster devil that was
like he fucking offered to share his potato, but the potato that was nowhere near half.
It was not half of the potato. And it's funny because that was so long ago, but I remembered watching that episode and thinking, that's not half.
Should we talk about shit hitting the fan and talk about Eren for a little bit? I've done this for the occasion. And I've got a little bit of a dark Eren Yeager samurai bun
it does
going
look
on.
Eren Yeager, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate. Thank you. I spent time on that. My favourite iteration of the character by far. I don't know what it is about Eren this season. He's coming over a lot more sober and a lot more kind of introspective. Like, I love that scene where he sits with Falco on the bench and he talks about, people that push themselves into hell can see something beyond the hell, and it kind of shows you his green eye and you're like, fucking hell, it's Eren. Like, I thought it was when he started talking to him and what he was saying, and then it shows you that he's got green eyes, and he says that line about moving forward, echoing Reiner. You're like, fucking hell, it's Eren there. And then when he meets Reiner a few episodes later, in the next episode in the basement, he's almost kind of forgiving of him. Do you know what I mean? He's almost like, I could completely understand where you were coming from. Like, I vaguely remember threatening to kill you, but you can ignore that because you were in pain the whole time. Like, what I have to do now is going to be painful for me, so I get it. So it's almost like a I forgive you kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a good turn for this character.
So in that same episode, was it just me, or did you think Yelena was Armin.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me.
No,
Very similar looking characters, especially because that we know there'd been a time jump. We hadn't, but we didn't know what Armin looked like.
No, yeah.
And there's not many blonde characters with bowl cuts in this show. So.
Well, there's more than one. There's definitely more than one.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she's hard to get a read on, that character.
I believe that's a he.
Oh, really?
I thought it was a she for
Lena.
the most part, but then I think in the last few episodes they're referred to as he. I could be wrong.
They're a hard character to get a read on. But no, yeah, shit goes off at that festival, and that's was one of my favourite endings to an episode ever. What can you remember the character's name off the top of your head? The one with the long hair.
I can't know.
The family that cherishes that owns the Warhammer Titan. I can't remember that family's name off the top of my head, but the guy's giving a speech and he's giving like a theatrical performance, and at the climactic moment of that, he declares war on Paradise Island, and without missing a beat, Eren is like, all right, son, then here you go, and there he is. So everything that goes down after that, as much as it's horrible, it's legal because war was declared. Do you know what I mean?
I never thought of that.
Yeah, I texted you about it. You said, "Oh yeah, your order is ready." It's like premium shipping. There you go.
Absolutely.
You want war? We're having it.
I'm glad you remember all these snappy texts that I send you back. You always bring up texts that I've sent. Yeah, but no, that was great action, and obviously we've got to talk about this. Eren using the Jaw Titan to crack that cocoon was absolutely insane. It was nuts.
I wish the rampage had gone on a little bit longer without the Warhammer Titan coming and putting a stop to it. I wish he'd kicked the shit out of all the politicians and newspaper people and got like proper Game of Thrones season 8 episode 5 kind of vibes. Do you know what I mean? I was looking for that.
The only complaint I have about this episode is the action. The action was great, but I wanted more.
Yeah,
I wanted a bit more. This is not, and it's what I think I said this to you going into it. This is not an action heavy season.
No.
It's much more story and plot driven than big.
I think this
big
is
monkey throwing rocks and stuff.
But he does a bit of that though. He's back to throwing rocks, and it actually there's a character reason for him doing that, which I didn't see coming. But there totally is a reason that he likes to throw and catch so much, the big monkey. But yeah, as far as action goes, these 2 episodes here, this is your lot, isn't it, for season 4? The opening and then this, and that's it. Really, as far as big action set pieces go, and the rest of it's plotting, right?
There's a bit towards the end with Levi and Zeke.
There is. I forgot about that. My bad. Yeah, that's a good. That is with the.
It's a good. It is definitely.
It is
a
good. Yeah. So I like seeing the guys turn back up, the Scout Regiment. I like seeing them turn up with their new and improved ODM gear. They've off screen, and you do get to see what happened off screen, sort of in that time jump. Off screen, they've upped their technology to kind of match with the outside world. So it's the new and improved Scout Regiment. And all your favourites are there, and you get to see them. They've all got a little bit more stubble. They're all a little bit fucking bigger.
Except Levi's the exact same.
Apart from Levi, yeah. Who gets a good entrance at the very end of the episode, because I was waiting for him. I was like, yeah, come on then, where's Levi? Where's Levi?
I audibly cheered when Levi came in. I was so... Because it had been a while since I'd seen him, and every episode I was turning to Cat, and I was just like, where's Levi? I want Levi. He's good. Needs more Levi.
But one of the noticeable absences in that first episode is Armin. So we're thinking, where's Armin? And then he turns up, and
God, what an entrance! Jesus,
trust me,
my jaw dropped to my legs. It was so. Yeah,
and
just knowing the character of Armin as well, and the sort of the confliction that he's going to have about that enormous. Obviously, we're talking about the harbour scene where Armin
the nuclear bomb
nukes the harbour. just it's so much more impactful knowing seeing the story of Armin up until the end of season 3 and knowing about what he's like as a character.
He would have much rather have done this around the negotiating table in a diplomatic way. That's kind of hit home as well, isn't it? When he sort of looks down at the devastation. There's like a kid or something, isn't there, under the rubble, and he's kind of ashamed of what he's done, but also sort of calls out to Bertolt and was like, "So is this the kind of thing that you saw?" In his mind's eye, innit? So and that's it. Then they all get on the airship and away they go, and nobody that we love dies. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it, man. Like,
it was spoiled for me.
Oh, dude, that sucks.
But I almost am glad that it was. I had time to get ready
myself. I wasn't ready. I saw it coming in the context of the episode. So Gabby. Sorry, I've worked with somebody called Gab, so I keep calling her Gabs. so Gabby goes chasing after the airship, cursing Erin's name. She's got the gun, and I'm thinking, don't you fucking shoot Sasha? And then she kills that.
So
that
why
other
were you
guy.
thinking Sasha? Because she saw her do.
Because they had eye contact. Sasha killed those two guards that were quite nice to her and Falco. So then she jumps on the ODM gear and she's on the way up to the ship, and I'm thinking, don't you fucking kill Sasha? And then they hit the ship and Sasha's the one that turns around like, did you hear something? I'm like, they're gonna fucking kill Sasha! And then they fucking killed Sasha! Best girl, and her last words, you know.
Sasha was best girl, yeah.
She was best girl. Like, her last words being like, we're gonna eat soon, you know. Oh, baby girl, what have they done to you? Like, horrible, man. Horrible. And Erin decides to have a good chuckle about it, which is a bit of a dick move.
Obviously, Connie and Jean and Jean, God knows.
Jean? Jean?
They take quite a bit of an issue with that, but I always saw it as he was laughing at Sasha's last words.
Yeah. Like, that's so Sasha. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
That's the way I always saw it. But I could see why they would be annoyed, basically. But I didn't think it was him, like, laughing that Sasha had been killed or anything like that.
No, yeah. So the last batch of episodes are kind of world building, aren't they? So we're fleshing it out. We're back on Paradise, and we get to see some flashbacks as well, which felt very, very Attack on Titan, which I hadn't got yet in season 4. I was like, if you showed me that first episode and told me that it wasn't Attack on Titan, I would believe you. Like, until the fucking Titans themselves turn up. Going back to Paradise and getting the, you know, everyone's in the scout gear, the scout cloaks. It's the cast of characters we recognise. It's like, here we go. It's like coming back home. It's like seeing mates that you haven't seen for a while. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously that they are bringing people over from an Oriental nation, which is meant to be their sole friendly nation. You know, it turns out that Mikas has actually got a tie there with that bloodline.
She had a magic tattoo appear that she'd never had in any of the previous seasons. Or even episodes in this season.
No. Is it ever shown to, like, that she's always got a bandage around her arm? It's not, is it?
Nope.
No.
Nope. You see that part of her arm and there's nothing on there, but I'm not going to nitpick an animated show for something like that.
Yeah.
I will make a joke about it, but it doesn't bother me.
Gabby and Falco getting taken in by Sasha's family, I thought that was a cruel twist of fate. That's not fair on them to have to deal with what they deal with. Like, fuck her. I don't give a shit about her. She is not just because she kills Sasha, but she's just very unlikable. She's just a racist piece of shit. That's my take away from it. Anyway, I know.
She's very brainwashed, and I would love for Gabby to see the light. I think that would be a great plot development for me. I don't think she will, but I don't know if she will, because I feel like it should have probably happened in Sasha's family house.
Yeah. I think that one of the fucking wake up moments for her is when the young sister or the the same person actually that Sasha rescues in season 2.
Yeah.
Comes back around, and and she was very much, like covering for her when she knew that they were actually Marlians, and was the ones that invited them in and broke bread with them. For Sasha's potentially love interest boyfriend type dealio to
The
not
Marlian chef.
Yeah, the Marlian chef to put the knife down, and then for her dad too, but then for this young girl that was championing them to then turn up with the knife and want to go in for the kill and be so distraught about it. I think that was a big wake up moment for Gab potentially.
It was it was a strong. It was a really powerful episode.
Yeah.
It was really strong. I just want to briefly talk about. I think I'm not sure if it's that episode or the one after. I think it might be the one after where I really feel bad for forgetting his name because he's a really good character in this. The chef, how he stops the Eldians from drinking the wine, and he's like, he puts on a bit of a racist act to them, to get them to believe it and stuff like that, and. He showed that he does actually care about these characters. He does see them as friends. Yeah. He ends up getting locked up with them because of this. But yeah, I thought that was good because it happened and we were like, huh? And then
I thought that as well. That's a bit. So you're a scumbag as well, are you? Do you know what I mean? I thought he was going to put the wine in the fucking. I assumed it was poison wine. I didn't know it had Zeke's spinal fluid in it and whatever. Do you know what I mean? I assumed he was just going to poison Sasha's family just to be a dick. Do you know what I mean? But because Hanj had said something about that they put Marlians in weird specific jobs like restaurants and things like that. And I was like, oh, is he going to poison? So I didn't know what was going to happen, but I would never have called this, and I don't know what's going to happen with this or where it's going to go. Is Eren a dick to Mikasa and Armin just to get them locked up so they're away from the fighting, or what's going? Or is he just a piece of shit?
I think so. He wasn't.
I'm fine either way.
It felt like a long time since season 3, since season 3, but it wasn't. It was. It's like 15 episodes, isn't it? From the point where we see that Eren's thought of I must protect Mikasa and Armin literally fucking transcends time and space. So I am pretty confident that it's him trying to protect them. I don't know how, I don't know the logic behind that, but knowing this show, we will get, if that is the case, it will be explained very well, definitively why he was doing that.
He's up to something. Eren's got an ace up his sleeve here. He's playing everyone. He's playing
4D chess, mate.
He is, mate. He's playing Connect 4. he's playing Connect 4D chess.
He is, mate.
No, yeah, absolutely. What else? Just wrapping up here, then let's talk about Zeke and Levi in the forest, and they've been drinking the wine. Zeke thinks that Levi will hesitate, but this is a guy that regularly sent colleagues and comrades off to death by the fucking horse cart load. So yeah,
it's about 3 seconds, but he does.
And then he's could be dead. I bet don't you, whether Levi actually survives or not? But like the last we see of Levi, there's quite an uncomfortable image of a horse on fire, which I didn't enjoy. That's in shot for like 0.5 of a second, a couple of frames. I didn't enjoy that. Just like, please don't do that again.
I don't know anything after what's happened, what you've seen now. But I have to tell myself he's not. I really doubt it.
I feel like if Levi was dead, they would have shown the body, and he needs to have one more face-to-face with Eren at least before the season's out.
And he needs to murder Zeke. He needs to finish him off. It's got to happen. But also, it wouldn't be, because we've both shared the theory that we believe Mikasa will kill Eren.
That or Armin.
I think it's Mikasa, personally. I think that's what's been hinted towards. And now for Mikasa to be in that position, maybe Levi would have to be out of the picture somehow.
Right, yeah. So maybe he's not. Do you think any of these characters are going to live through to the conclusion?
Probably
Or-
not.
who's the narrator that does the next time zone? Whose voice is that? Is that Hanji's voice? Because maybe
know.
just her potentially. Like I don't know if any of our main cast of characters are getting out of this alive. Eren for sure. From what I've heard, the ending of Attack on Titan in the manga is very much like Game of Thrones. So yes, it would make sense for either Mikasa or Armin to land the killing blow on Eren. He's not making it out of this. He's not.
No, he can't be. And plus, he's only got like 2 years. What does it fucking matter? He's only got like 2 years left to live anyway.
No, absolutely.
Because they only get 7 years from when they inherit the Titan.
I didn't know there was, as I've said a couple of times, I didn't know there was going to be a part 2. So I did think in the lead up to it, this is a really good season, but I don't feel like it's wrapping up. Like, how are they going to do this in 3 episodes? And then when it just says to be continued at the end, I'm like, oh, we get a movie. And then you were like, it's a 2-part season. I was like, I didn't fucking know that.
So I didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew that this wouldn't. I knew this wouldn't be it, but I didn't know there was going to be a second part. I knew going into the final episode that there was going to be a second part because it got announced in Japan immediately after the episode, which was still a couple of hours before we could watch it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
That's good though, because obviously being quite a late comer to this franchise, I've never been able to do like the simulcast thing and jumping on Twitter afterwards. So I get to do that now with the next season.
It's a good show for it.
Yeah, and you'll be able to text me after we've watched it and be like, "Holy shit, dude!" So yeah, that's something to look forward to. So maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah. So what'd you give season 4 out of 10?
8.
Okay, I'll give it 9.
Let's see how it goes. How would you rank them overall, all the seasons from kind of like not worst to best because they're all fucking good, but like least favorite to favorite?
Season 2, season 1, season 3, part 1, season 4, season 3, part 2.
Very nice, very nice. So season 3, part 1, season 1, season 2, season 4 is season 3, part 2.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's it. Then we did it, didn't we?
I have to say, like season 3, part 1, and season 1 and 2, there's barely anything in it for me.
Yeah.
They're all about the same quality of show, I believe.
I'm surprised you put season 2 down so low. Because that's where most of the plot threads are laid, and you get some big reveals in that season.
It's not low. It's
fucking,
all of it's high up.
Yeah. I was okay.
If you're asking me to give them numbers, season 3, part 1, season 2, and season 1, they all get a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
From me, so
okay, fair enough then. Fair enough, but yeah, Sasageo for 1 is just makes the whole thing a 10 out of 10.
It's 2, I believe.
Say again.
It's 2, part 2, season 2.
Season 2. That's what I meant.
Oh
no, I meant that for 1.
My War.
I don't know about it.
Sasageo is top, obviously.
Yeah.
But
then
My War's quite close.
That's number 2.
That was good too.
Then season 3, part 2, that opening, the one that's kind of a sequel to the first opening. Then maybe season 3, part 1, because that one really started to grow on me, man. The Fly to Heaven, that one.
I didn't like that one.
That one grew on me. Then My War, and then the second part of season 1, which I just do not like at all. So,
really, My War's that low down?
There's
I
not
really
much to
like it.
There's just not much to it compared to the rest of the openings.
Yeah, but I think it perfectly complements the season that it's in.
Very much so, actually. You're right. It gives it a feel. It's just so much darker than. And Attack on Titan was already pretty dark, but this is just like the darkest it's been. We're in the darkest timeline now, but yeah, I hope for season 4, part 2 that fucking Linked Horizon come back with a banger like that. That's my hope for season 4, part 2. But we might have to knock it on the head there, Jord.
Yeah,
for any final thoughts, or you all good?
I like Attack on Titan.
I like Attack on Titan.
I am excited for more Attack on Titan.
What a roller coaster of a ride that was, mate. We laughed, we cried.
I mean, we fucking nailed that commentary and
think we
review
did.
and whatever else we spoke about. God, that shit with Eren. My God, can you believe that? That that thing we were talking about.
I know it. Trust me.
It's
To be
nuts,
honest
isn't
with
it?
you, I'm glad that this has sort of been fucked with the timeline, because the one thing I would change is where I said I didn't like My War, because it's really grown on me since we recorded that, and it's one of my favourites now. So yeah,
It's a good song, man.
all right.
So Jamie,
Yes.
Azitgewin Mates.
How's it going, buddy? Woo! How's it going? What's going on? Tell us about all the shit that you've done. How's it going, kid? It's going well, mate. It's going well. I've discovered this week emulators, man. Now I'm not sure how much.
Welcome
can I
to
talk,
2005, mate.
how much
Nice
can I
to see
talk
you
about
here.
emulators? Like, what's the legality of them? Because I don't actually know.
Oh, shut the fuck up. But honestly, who really cares? Go for it. Tell us what you've been playing.
Okay, so for whatever reason, I thought an emulator was a really complicated piece of tech, but it's not. You just download it and off you go. So I've been playing some of the Pokemon games that are like ridiculously expensive now to get for the DS, like Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Heart Gold, Pokemon Black White 2. And I've also been looking at Pokemon Showdown as well, which I showed you a little bit of while we were on break. So I've just been playing around with those, man, and it's like I'd love to like actually buy a copy of Pokemon Platinum and play it on my DS like back in the day, so I wasn't like sat at the computer or whatever and playing it. But at the end of the day, they've discontinued these games, and you just can't get fucking hold of them now without paying like bare money for them.
So that's why I bought this a couple of months ago.
Is that your handheld emulator?
Yeah, that's what it is basically. You know, it runs on Android. It's got a memory card slot in the side. Stick some fucking games on it. Play.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
Easy.
I've downloaded a GameCube emulator as well in a few games, but I don't know how well that's going to run on my Mac. So you have to watch this space for that.
Maybe not. Because when it comes to emulators, like say trying to run a Wii game, obviously we know the hardware that's in a Wii is shit.
Yeah.
But running it on an emulator, it's gonna require a lot better shit than like, you know, what actually comes in a Wii for some reason. I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, it's.
I'm interested to see how the motion controls would work on a Wii game. You pick up your mouse and start fucking swinging it around.
So you can get stuff that will let you just use the normal Wii remote. I ran a Wii emulator on my iPad Pro, and I just used a normal Bluetooth controller and set all the different wiggles. Like if I had to like wiggle the controller, I just set that as like right trigger or something. So that's how it works basically.
We're living in a golden age of technology, aren't we, man? I thought
it's crazy.
Do you think we take it for granted a little bit? Because like,
yeah,
definitely. Like, I was brought up before all this stuff. Like I remember how life was before any of all this technology and whatever. But if I had to go back now, I couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean?
Can you imagine like being somewhere and like, say you go for a walk and you get lost? Well, I guess that's it, mate. You're never going home. You're fucked. This is where you're gonna die.
I'm gonna
pull out your phone and just Google Maps it. Get an Uber back. You know, fucking no, you're stuck. This is where you live now.
You're becoming some wild feral man of the moors.
Exactly.
I'd be a beast, man. there'd be pictures of me getting up in the morning, just taken from a distance. Like, what is this thing? I remember, a slight tangent. I am going to ask you how's it going in a sec, but a slight tangent. I remember I went to Twycross Zoo when I was about 22 years old, and they had this thing of a gorilla on the side of the gorilla hut. Like, compare yourself to the size of a gorilla.
Yeah.
And I went and did it, and like my measurements were exactly the same, like outstretched, standing up straight, and it just like it was a 1-for-1 match of some sort of Western lowland gorilla, and I was quite depressed after that. It's like, oh dear. How's it going with you, mate? What have you been up to?
I haven't been too well this week, so I haven't really done much.
I didn't know that. You feeling better now?
Yeah, I'm sound as a pound, as it would be.
Wee.
I watched something on Netflix that I really wouldn't have pegged myself watching. It's a show about a mother and her 2 kids move into a new place called I think it's Ginny and Georgia, or Georgia and Ginny, or something like that. But it's good, man. Yeah.
Topic for next week.
Topic for next week. No, we would never walk that way, that far from the path of superheroes. Because it's very like, I think they even reference the Gilmore Girls in it. It's very that sort of show, but a bit bit more edgy. But I kind of like the Gilmore Girls.
What happened? What happened to you, man?
But no, Kay started watching it, and I couldn't sleep that night, so I stayed up literally all night, and I just had that on. I just watched the full season in one, and you don't do that very often, do you? As a man of mid-20s age. But it was good. I enjoyed it. And the only reason I'm talking about it, though... Yeah, exactly. But the only reason I'm talking about it is because I did absolutely nothing else, so I don't have anything else to bring up.
No, it's all good, man.
I'm going to take this opportunity of my few minutes in How's It Going to tell a story. I
love stories.
So, a while ago now, if I looked at the years, I could probably figure it out. It's probably, I think it's like 7 years. Me and Jamie went on our way to watch Age of Ultron at the local picture house. And at the time, me and Jamie were both tobacco smokers, smoking a ciggy. I'm not going to say what we would normally call it because there might be American people watching this, and
we'll get flagged for that.
We'll get flagged, yeah, because just Google what the British word, the British slang for cigarette is if you're not sure where I'm getting at there, but it would get me in trouble if I said it on here. And a few kids came up to us and asked us for a cigarette. And they look quite young. They can't have been older than 12 or 13. I was late teens. You were early 20s at the time, I would say.
Yeah.
So they come up and ask, and Jamie just turns to them and says, "What am you nine?"
You see, I was trying to make the point that trouble's gonna find you, but as long as you're civil with people, and as long as you like talk them down, and you've got a certain way about you, you can kind of diffuse
as long as
situations.
You're kind and polite. So these kids walk off, and Jay turns to me and is like, I think I handled that quite well. I think I handled that quite diplomatically.
Jay, you didn't.
You fucking didn't, mate. Do you know what you've just... What am you nine? You fucking kid. It's like, no, they probably walked off. They're probably like looking for our car or something. Because it's
bad news, dickheads. We're gonna bus pass.
Exactly. We're obviously from the Black Country. We were in the heart of Dudley, so kind of rough neighbourhood. And I would say that Jamie, no, you weren't quite polite and correct with them.
I can't believe you told that story.
I've been meaning to tell it on here for a long time. So
that's
obviously throughout the years since then, a bit of a running joke with us has been, "What am you nine?
What am you nine? What am you? Some kind of sissy? What do you take me for, sir? Meh, see meh." There's many a meme between me and Jord, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh god, yeah. Think of all the inside jokes that we'll get to share with you over the years of this wonderful podcast.
All right, I'll hit you back with one if we're gonna do that.
Oh fuck! What did I do?
No. It was more of a funny thing because to be fair, throughout our years of friendship, it's usually been me being the dickhead. Do you know what I mean? So there ain't many.
I'm quite quiet, like in public. Jay's quite not quiet in public. So.
Do you see, the thing is though, people have always not got onto me about that, but people have always noted or mentioned that I'm loud and animated in a public place. But I don't know these fuckers, and I'm never going to see them again. I don't care. I want to make my friend laugh now. I don't give a shit where I am.
Mate, fair play. Yeah, I wish I was more like you, but I'm out in public and I'm just like, let's face it, I'm a much smaller man than you, so like I get away with a lot less. Like if I was just walking on my own and like those two kids come up to me and I was like, "What am you nine?" I'd pulled a fucking knife out, mate. That'd have been it for me. We live in England. Like,
excuse me, sir, have you got a spare cigarette? Yeah, sure, sir. Take it,
man. Here you go. Do you want my wallet? Here you go. It's yours, mate.
No, I remember cause where I used to live, it's known as quite a rough area. But I've always I've worked security down there, and I've always walked the streets quite early in the morning. So when people, I think it was you that was saying that it was quite a rough area, and I was like, nah, man, I've never had any trouble. And you were like, Jay, think of the fucking size of you. I'm not surprised.
I think the exact words I said was, Jay, fucking look at ya.
Look at you though, Jay. Yeah, that was...
Jay, just do you own a mirror? There's a reason people don't like. The reason I've had a lot more trouble in my shorter life than you have in yours.
No, to be fair, that it comes as a blessing and a curse. Though it's like sometimes people will not want to sit by me on a packed train. Like they'd rather stand up on a packed train than sit by me. Like,
that's a win.
Yeah, no, definitely more leg brace to fucking man spread. But like, no, the story I was gonna tell is when I was quite on my exercise hype, right? And I got really into my exercise hype. And I was... understatement, yeah. And I was fucking on Jord's back about it as well. Oh, this is the best thing I've ever done with myself. It's amazing. You want to get in the gym, son? You want to get down the gym? So Jord was like, all right, well, I'm not going to join the gym. But I'll tell you what, on the way back from work, we'll get some weights. You help me get them back to our place, to my place. I was like, yeah, no, absolutely. So we went to buy these weights from Argos, right? And the guy brings them out and puts them on on the counter. And he was like, oh, there's a bit of weight in that package, gent. And I was sort of like, yeah, they're weights.
They're weights.
They're weights.
Dumbbell. Quickly mention the other story from this outing.
Which one was that?
So at the same, like, we've just picked up the weights and we're going to leave, and someone who was there before us, they'd left a McDonald's, like an empty McDonald's cup on the side right where we were collecting them, and as we were walking away, the guy turns to us and he says something about, it's just like, I think you've left your drink or some shit like that, or lads, you've left this, and God, the look on Jamie's face.
Flex. Do I look like someone who eats Mackies?
As much as he can. Like, do I fucking look like someone who eats Mackies?
I mean, you'd look at me now and be like, yeah, you do. Do you know what I mean? You can tell you're a man that keeps yourself fit, but you're also a man that enjoys a fucking cheeseburger, mate.
But at the time, there was not a shred of fat on this man. Like, his life was the gym at this point in time. Like,
it was.
What are you doing after work today, Jay? I think we can go and do something for can't, mate. I've got the gym, I.
Go to the gym, yeah. I feel bad about it now when I look back. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a few people I fucked over because of the gym and shit.
Yeah, but look how swole you were, mate. Everything's worth it.
I was fucking swole to the soul. And that was good, man. Oh, fucking hell. Is that a podcast, Jord? I like that last little fucking section there, man. That was fun. Did you get up to
it's at least half a podcast, and
yes,
by the time you lovely people at home are watching it, it should be a full podcast. So, I say we call it there.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. Thank you, Jord, obviously, for your time.
You're welcome. Any time, mate.
Thank you very much, mate. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, so you don't have to listen to us on here. You can go to Google, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Spotify, all of them, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we've got it. And if we ain't got it, you don't fucking need it. Hey, I brought it back.
He said it, lad. He said it.
Happy days, mate. Jord, where can people find you online if they feel so inclined?
At @the_Sidonian on Twitter or Sidonian on YouTube. You know, if you're not sure on the spelling, it's been below me this whole episode in spades, so there you go.
Same, I am at KaijuGroupie91 on Twitter, where I'll meme with you, I'll chat to you, I'll tickle your chin if you fancy it, but if you see me in real life, fucking leave me alone.
Okay.
Awesome. Nice one, I enjoyed that. All right.
Yeah, we'll see you next week,
Nice
guys.
one. See you next week. Peace. The pod is finished, the pod is gone. Why don't you go and watch another one? That was Mukkapod, it was Mukkapod. Mukkapod wore it. Decide us a pod and share us around and subscribe and all that good shit. I keep